Hello and welcome to DCP Live episode number 158. Today is a very special episode. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this episode because we have Morla on the show, none other, voice of Eris Morn.
Yay!
Welcome.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
I feel like you forgot our last name.
It's you have a hard last name to
I feel
say.
like this happened last time.
Gorrondona, right?
Yeah, you got it.
There he is.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I didn't want to.
Gorrondona.
One more time, just so I for sure know.
Gorrondona.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to say it wrong and like look like the guy who was like, "You didn't check this before we started the show." I had like 15 minutes. I could have been like, "Hey, how do you pronounce your last name?" I didn't. Yeah,
I'm really
We
glad
had
you
some
did that,
logic
Tefty.
issues. It's
I'm
fine.
really
It's
glad
fine.
you did that.
yeah. It kind of showcases our the podcast here for that. So
It's a good,
Yeah.
yes.
It was a callback. It was a callback to the first one.
exactly.
Fine. It was like nostalgia.
We didn't fix our problems from last time. So
Yeah.
that's what you're
We
saying.
don't.
But
we don't.
We might have
fix our
gotten
problems.
worse, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
You're
like
just making me feel at home. I
continuity,
appreciate that.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Point is, Eris is here, and he knows how to pronounce that.
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
The voice of Eris. Last time we had you on the show, you had kind of done your circuit with Destiny, and you didn't know you were going to be back on another version of the game. I remember when we talked about it, you had said, well, let's just see what happens. If the community wants me back on, you should let people know. Remember? And we did
had
this
the whole
campaign
Save
where
Eris campaign.
yes, we had Save Eriss. We did this campaign where we spearheaded the petitioning Bungie to add voice lines for you, some direction for you. So we'd like to take credit for Shadowkeep.
All of Shadow.
It worked.
Entire thing.
You're welcome. I mean, I just brought you on the podcast to just, to hear that, and you're welcome. So there we go. So we heard you just got back from Australia. What were you doing over down under?
I did. I just got back from Australia. I was at PAX Australia in support of
Do the toilets
Shadowkeep.
flush backward like we heard?
Oh my gosh, I didn't check. I never
Okay.
checked.
So we were. So you go ahead.
Before I should have consulted before. I totally didn't check. Or is it like in The Simpsons where they have the whole thing where they want to make Americans feel at home and so
Yeah.
they
They have the
reverse-
machine toilet that makes it go the correct way. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you were at an event in Australia. What was it called?
I was at PAX.
Oh, sorry. My voice cutting out again. Yeah, I think it was. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So how was have you gone to PAX, any other PAX events?
Any other PAX events?
Mm-hmm.
I attended PAX West. I did a VO panel a number of years back. That's back when I was still living in Seattle. But that's the only other PAX that I've ever been to.
As a voice actor, do you enjoy going to events like that? Is this what's that experience for you? Because you're meeting people that are seeing you for the first time. They've heard your voice, but they're meeting you in person for the first time. Are you usually on panels, or how does a convention work for you as a voice actor?
Well, it depends on the convention. So, like for PAX West and for like the Game Developers Conference, or even like Game Sound Con, it's more. I attend more I attend so I can learn, and I attend because I'm presenting something on kind of on the academic level.
Right.
But this PAX and say Guardian Con was very much about representing a particular character, representing Eriss as the voice of Eriss, and that's a newer experience for me, and I really like it.
Because everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Eris!" Oh my God,
it's so much fun to hear people's stories about how they connect with Eriss and what destiny means to them. I have heard so many heartwarming stories and moving stories and emotional stories from people at Guardian Con and at PAX about how destiny really helped them through hard times, or
Yes.
how Eriss, how they connect with Eriss. And there was one young lady in particular who told me that she was really dealing with some things, and there were a number of days where, like, knowing that she could, like, go to the tower and hang out with Eriss really got her out of bed.
Wow.
That's profound.
Wow.
That
That's
is.
profound.
That's crazy.
And there was a gentleman at Guardian Con whose wife had just passed away, and this was the first time he had really gotten out of the house. Like, his kids and his wife and he all played Destiny, and he and they all, his kids told him, it's like, you really need to go, you need to be with this community. And I feel like for him, just seeing him interact with everyone, and that it was important. It was important for him. And he said as much. He said that this was a really important thing for him to do, to get out. It was a good reason for him to get out of the house and reconnect with community.
This is a crazy.
I got a quick question about Australia. Did you see any birds there? I have a theory, right? Is that you never ever see pictures of birds from Australia, because
Briar's bird theory.
I don't know if there's no birds in Australia, or if it's just everybody's looking down at the ground looking for these dangerous ass animals that they got in Australia, so they never actually look up.
What's
birds.
with all these birds
there's wild
right now?
cockatoos.
No, birds. I don't
birds.
believe there's birds.
Where's
in
this bird
Australia.
stuff coming from, Tef?
Cuckoos.
What I say?
Crazy birds.
I
I
right
know
now.
you were talking
Absolutely.
about.
No,
very
Watts is the
heartwarming.
I don't
expert on
actually
the
think
cats.
there's birds.
But it's-
Anyways,
What is up with
I think
all
the
of
birds
it?
are
know-
Brian, this is like
I
so
want
much
to
bird
know
talk
by the
right
Soviet
more about
government
what
to
you're
spy
All this
on
bird
us.
talk happening
it's
right
more
now.
like
It's
you've
not
never
a bird
actually seen
expert, and I just
birds.
feel like you're going to take this
You've
like
never
way
seen
too
birds.
far.
Learned in
Going way too
school,
far.
Never seen a
or
photograph
is
of birds
this-
before
Why would you talk
1920.
so much
There's a
about
reason
birds
for that.
right
That's
now?
when they
Where
were
did the
actually
birds
My
invented.
God.
Birds were
This is
invented in
absolutely
1920 to
you're
spy on us. That's
insane
why you've
right
never
now.
seen a
Talk
picture
to
of a
me.
bird
His
before
bird fixation
1920.
sounds
What?
like
Insufferable.
Whew.
Mostly Briar.
I love it.
but mostly Brad.
Nailed it.
That was
Nailed it, guys.
amazing. That was amazing.
That was
I legit didn't know that birds was the cue at first. I was
Nobody
like,
knew.
Is this
Nobody
real?
knew the birds were the
It was
cue.
like,
No one knew.
Nobody knew.
yeah, there are birds. I'm like, I don't know where this is. Wow, this is interesting. Like, oh, right, we're doing the thing.
That was good. Thank you.
One of
I love how,
Pope's golden ideas coming through live on Twitch right here.
Yes.
Yes.
I and I got to give credit to Briar. Like he came up, he had the idea of doing this, and if interrupting somebody was anybody's idea, it would have been Briar's.
It was Briar's idea.
But
to
for real, the
interrupt
bird
people?
thing. Let's get back to that.
Yeah. Now that I think about it,
I
I've never
got-
seen any birds in Australia. Yeah.
So let's.
They're not. All the spiders ate them. It's fine.
Yeah.
That makes
that
sense,
makes
actually.
Yeah.
It's funny though. Someone on Twitter actually specifically requested this situation to go down. It was like, it's just you wait, you're
That
Oh, I
line.
know. Just we were putting it together, and then somebody messaged it on Twitter, and I'm like, oh my god, that's funny. He's gonna be laughing his butt off right now. He's like, that was my idea.
Yeah,
I
we
got
did
so caught up in the moment. I forgot the line afterwards.
That's right. Save your torment for someone else who gives it.
Right, it was gonna be.
I just looked at it.
Save
so I
your
wouldn't
questions for someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I honestly have never seen. I mean, you as a voice actor are very engaged with the audience of the games you're in, and do you see that as with other voice actors in your you obviously follow the work of other people, but it seems like this is something that is unique to you. I feel like you engage in the community at a very close level, a tight knit level. You're always on Twitter, you're always connecting with it. it's just events. It's stuff like this. It's like connecting with us in and wanting to do this little skit to make everybody laugh. It's those little special things. I also feel like that's the passion that you bring into your craft of in voicing Eriss. I'm gonna get to my question, I promise. Besides just me telling you how awesome you are, I wanted to know, you seemed, the way that you approached Eriss in D1, it was this like tormented place that you had to take yourself as a voice actor. And I wanted to know how that evolved, or like or Eriss wasn't a primary character in D1. She was a cast,
Right.
a supporting cast, and you had to take her persona and bring it into as a lead role. Did your preparation for that change as in how you approach the character from D1 to 2, or did you go to that same place, or how did you find the voice of Eriss for Shadowkeep?
Well, I wasn't sure what changes were going to be in store script wise, or what she had been through, where she's arriving in this new space. I know I keep I have like very easy, quick access to the Eriss voice. It's very it's just become so much a part of me that I can, tap into it. And like tapping into the emotion of it takes a little bit more doing. It's not, it's like almost like a parlor trick. I can just pull out Eriss just to get the voice, but to get the depth, the real core and the essence of Eriss takes some diving and settling in. So where she arrived, I wanted, I was hoping that she wasn't going to be too different, and that the things that make her the little hallmarks of her cadence and her state of being weren't going to be too altered. And I think that is true, that the Bungie has preserved her, that she's had an experience, that she's had experiences, and that she's, as the game is being played, she's having experiences that these are the nightmares. Can you tell?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That affect her personality, which then will affect her state, her present state, which then affect her voice. But so preparation wise, getting returning to or coming into Shadowkeep, it was remembering where she had been, and remembering her voice was the most preparation that I could do before I got into session, to hear about what if any there was a new direction or journey or tone.
She's kind of like the only PTSD survivor in a way in Destiny, right? And then has all these flashbacks, nightmares just suddenly showing up with all that stuff of her fire team.
I feel like her suffering is it's specific to her, but it's also general enough that guardians, or not guard, but the guardian people, not the guardians in the game, but can impart their own feelings on that. They can give it as much weight or not as much weight as they choose.
Yeah.
They can oh, she's creepy and she's weird and she's sad, or people can identify with aspect, whether it be notes of I'm describing a wine, notes of
Well, I mean, it's a craft, it's an artwork, and just seeing the way that she communicates to the audience in the script, like as we're playing, you see that evolution of her, and it's really impressive to see the because you don't really get these long drawn out scenes. It's like not like a movie where you get to watch a character evolve over the span of an hour, 2 hour long movie. You're connecting with the player in these cut scenes and these connection pieces, and there's a lot of emotion I feel like that needs to be portrayed in just a short period of time.
Well, I think that also speaks to Bungie's amazing narrative team, that they're able to present this script that I can play with, that I can there are just words within the script that just send me, they're just so such easy like launching off points of like, here's a great place, like, I can just hang on this word and just feel the weight, like this word wants to like pull me down. I can feel the weight of this word. And Bungie's really good at they're not really good, they're remarkable at crafting a script that allows me to let Eriss just be, just like set her free.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Shadowkeep it was a really, because like Pope said, it is a short thing. It's not just this 2 hour long, 3 hour long movie. I think it was a really good showing of Eriss kind of descending more into madness as we went through the story. Because she's always been in pain and she's always been suffering because she went through something that was horrific. But as we went through the story of Shadowkeep, you really could tell that the nightmares were starting to bother her more and more and more. And I felt that was amazing to see in such a short period of time, because it really felt like, oh, she's actually going mad.
Yeah,
like this is driving
madness
her
setting in.
mad. Yeah.
And like and my director did a wonderful job of like describing what the scene will look like, which helped me like under, like they're there, like they are over you and they're incessant and it doesn't, and sometimes it's like, I'm gonna dive deep into like this feeling of what it's like to be weighted down by humanity, or it can be, sometimes it was just as simple of like, do you know that feeling when you're just trying to get something done and you just keep getting interrupted, and like it's infuriating. Like I mean, it's very it's a common thing. It's just kind of
and that's what the producer is doing, is helping you. The director is helping you connect to that place by giving you kind of like plot lines, or like where you're coming from.
Absolutely. Like, this is what's happening before, this is what's going on in the room, this is this is going to be leading up to this next thing. So yeah. But yeah, that sense of just like the feeling of like the insufferable feeling of like feeling of madness is, we've all felt that. We've all, like, in small ways, large ways. It's universal. That's the word I'm looking for. It's
I have to put up with these guys on the podcast. I mean, I felt that moment, that scene where you're like, this is insufferable. I feel that on a weekly basis.
It's like, I'm setting it up so that you can just like.
That's right.
Do you ever take that kind of thing with you when you're done recording?
Wait,
like,
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you ever take a feeling like that with you? Like, does that, like, once you get into the character like that, is it hard to get out of it, or can you just shake it off and like go get a smoothie?
Hit the Jamba.
Sometimes. I mean, yeah, I feel like the sessions tend to go in this way where it's like we start off kind of light and then we get into like the meat, like the really tough emotional stuff, and then we end up a little bit lighter too. So when I'm leaving, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go drive now in LA traffic. You know, it's not, but it's luckily whether that's by design, in which case it's brilliant, and if it's brilliant, then I would assume that it is by design, or happenstance. It's I feel like when I end a session, I'm kind of like, oh, cool, and I'm always surprised when a session's done. Like, really? Oh, we're done. Okay. But
Do you lose track of
yeah,
time?
there have been times when I'm in the midst of that where it's just like, oh gosh, I fought to get to this place, or I really gave up a lot to allow myself to get to this place, and now I'm here. So let's just sit here for a while. So I hope we have more of these kinds of lines, because this is where I am right now.
For those who don't know, actually, could you set us up a little bit? Like, where was this recorded? How often? And also, our lines, how does it tend to go with Bungie? Is it, they just do a couple? Or sometimes it's like a Peter Jackson moment where you're doing for 200 different versions?
Oh, well, this is interesting, because this was kind of part of like how I approached the potential of Eriss being different. So I was so connected to my process before in Destiny 1. Like, I had this very almost regimented routine that I would go through. I'd have these very specific songs that I would listen to in this particular order. And I would drive, and this is when I was in Seattle. And so I would drive to Bungie, and I would have this same spot that I would park in, and it was like kind of hidden away. It was in the garage, so it was really dark. And I would just turn up my music as loud as possible. And I would always end with this song, which I've talked about it so often, Indus by Dead Can Dance. And I would just sing that as loud as I possibly could, with the music turned up as loud as I possibly could. And then I would just like walk into Bungie like I am already Eriss. And then like and then so now I'm in LA, and I'm like, oh gosh, I've kind of married myself to this process, and I don't
get a different
have
parking
access
spot.
to a large different process anymore.
It's like sunny outside.
What am I gonna do? It's sunny outside.
You're not in Seattle. Yeah,
right. So I allowed myself to realize that Eriss doesn't live in the preparation process, and that I can take pieces of that, but then also recognizing that actually kind of helped with the change too, or whatever was going to be different. It's like, oh, okay, well, if there is something different about Eriss, or if she has changed, and surely, there will be things that are different, then that'll be great, because now my process is different too. So it's all fine.
Yeah.
So this time around, I still definitely, I would do my warm up as per usual, and I would still play Eriss, but I kind of didn't have to listen to the whole song, and I didn't have to necessarily sing it as loud as I already trusted that she was there, and that I could access her easily, and that I could rely on the script and my director and myself to get her where she needs to be. But yeah, it's in LA, and the sessions are, every so often. It's they're not, it's as needed over the course of a length of time. And for when we're actually in session, usually it's like I will give like 2 versions of the line, sometimes just one, like especially if it's in a cinematic, we'll just do the whole cinematic all the way through, and then maybe come back and do it again. So just so it has the consistency of just like that flow of like beginning, middle, end, as opposed to like tacking in different pieces. Yeah. But then, sometimes if they like, oh, well, we needed a little bit different, or there was like a flub on this or whatever, then I can just go back and do them one by one as needed.
Cool.
It
Fascinating.
felt like you last time you
We're
were
done.
we
Awesome.
were on here. We're done.
That's right.
Last time we were on, we were talking about how you just really enjoyed the process of being in a video game and doing this. This is your main gig, and as a voice actor. And have you been? What are some other projects that you've worked on since D1?
Sorry, cut out. I'm having a little bit of audio difficulty.
Yeah.
So can you say that
Just
last part?
so you're since D1, have you worked on any other video games that we would know of?
Oh, yeah, sure. So most recently that came out was HBO's Westworld Awakenings. It's a VR title in line with HBO's Westworld, which was great. That was a performance capture job. That was a lot of fun. And also another VR title is Moss.
I've heard of Moss.
Yeah.
Sweet, heroic game. And I'm the narrator for that. So
That's cool.
Wow.
much like I would like read to my son at bedtime story, I read as the narrator voice, but I also do all the voices of the characters
That's
within
gotta be
it.
fun.
That's really cool.
That's
It was a
amazing.
lot of fun. And I definitely I would read, I got permission to do so, but I would read the script to my son as bedtime story to really like have that. It would be super authentic.
Part of the ritual to get in that.
That's awesome.
There's been a bunch. There's Crackdown 3, which I love because I was in Crackdown 2 back in the day, and Crackdown 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. So that's been great. And then, of course, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came back as Specialist Battery. So I'm really proud of that role. I'm trying to think. I know there's like a really important one that I'm not.
Done so much
remember.
big stuff.
Yeah.
Is
It's really cool.
Is Eriss your
It's been
most?
a lot of fun. It's been very exciting. It's coming to LA was well, I guess I was in LA last time we talked, but yeah, I had recently moved to LA. So it's proven to remain a very good decision and move for me.
That's great.
I was gonna ask real fast: is Eriss your most like disturbed, tormented type character? Like, is that sort of the most moody, or not necessarily?
Yeah, no, I think she has the most fleshed out internal story going on. She's got the her emotional story, her internal situation is very much like front and center. It's there's I know that there's like mystery to her, of course, and that I think that remains. But it doesn't feel like it's in a subtext kind of way. Like with a lot of characters, it's like, what's your motivation? Well, maybe it's counter to what it is that I'm doing, or it seems like I'm doing, like I'm working against my motivation. I feel like
she's very
in
straightforward.
any given moment, what is motivating Eriss is very clear. And she's like,
People might not know this, but you do the voice of Eriss in Destiny, but you're also kind of like the mother of the Hive. Was there anything new that you did in regards to the Hive with Shadowkeep?
Sound design wise, I have not done any additional sound design. No.
It was so good the first time. They just keep using the Hive sounds.
Can you give a recap of that so people know what those notes are?
To
what
give a recap of
what Hive
what now?
What Hive sound effects you were a part of and making, so people now go, oh, that's
I'm not
Morla.
exactly sure. I know that I did a session where I created these sounds, like the screeches and the screams and just 2 hours worth of noises, and it was kind of pieces of it were taken all over the place and placed in different places in the game. So
Omnigul's one of them, though, right?
Omnigul is also
like,
that was a different session actually. That came later. That was a
it's so iconic to Destiny.
It is, yeah.
It shows up
Omnigul
again,
screen.
and it shows up
Five
again
things.
in this
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah, Omnigul's back, so we get to hear it again.
Mhm.
yay!
Yes.
Terrorizing a whole new generation of Guardians.
Terrorizing our mind.
I know we had some questions from the community that have that Briar's put together that they wanted us to ask you. Some of them are serious, and some of them, I guess, are a little bit goofballish, as our community tends to do. So
I love the goofballish questions and the serious questions. I love them all.
Well, before we do
the
that,
first
though,
one-
hold on. Before we do that, would it be weird if you were to actually recreate a wizard scream a little bit of like how you would? Because most people would be like, "Let's hear Eriss," but like, I'm kind of interested to see like how the raw.
I feel like I'd have to like duck so no one could see me do it, but I can do like a scream, a screech of some sort.
Do you want me to cover your?
You tell me
We
where
can
you're
cover your
I,
webcam.
I can cover your webcam if you prefer, so you don't have contortions of becoming a hive wizard.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
All right, here. I'll see what I can do. I had a shouty session today, so let's see what we can come up with. All right. I do this for you guys. Like I don't do this for just anyone.
Yeah,
People are gonna
course.
love it.
I do it for y'all. Okay, hold on.
That's Omnigul.
That is
That's
legit
actually
a hive
good.
wizard.
That's
No,
scary.
I'm gonna go way higher.
It does go higher. That's crazy how noticeable that
It's
is as
so
a hive
distinct.
wizard sound.
That's like there's screams, yeah, but like that's legit a hive wizard scream.
yeah,
that's amazing.
hive wizards have a very specific sound. So instantly you
It's
can
the-
notice that as wow.
Yeah, it's
That's-
the way it like cracks and it's really awesome. Do you
That's
actually
amazing.
like? Are
Really
you
cool.
breathe? I've always wondered. Are you like doing a breathe in, reverse, like inverse type thing?
What am I doing?
You like meaning because screaming very often is like out, but you know the when you try breathing in instead, like you don't even know. That's amazing.
I'm inhaling.
You
Wow.
are, yeah. That's what it sounds like. Is that weird? It's
Yeah.
amazing that you can do that.
Well, the direction was like think dry, like it was like
Interesting.
it was
All
like
right.
ancient and like
Mm.
decrepit, and so
Mhm.
Right.
like I've
Got
done
it.
some sound. I did some creepy sounds like for Halo for what was it?
Halo Wars
Halo
2,
Waypoint
or-
Mona Lisa. I
Oh.
did I did the sound of the flood, and
Oh.
that's all very
Mhm.
wet. That's a very wet sound.
Mhm.
So this is like the opposite.
Interesting.
Sounds like
Huh.
you
That's really
ate
cool.
a mummy.
Like you ate a mummy.
A dehydrated mummy. I mean, they're dehydrated, obviously, but
They're-
even more.
it's
so.
even worse than Norway.
They were put a mummy that was put into a
Every time-
dehydrated
Mummy
machine.
jerky.
Mummy jerky.
Well, having your voice back in our ears as we're doing these missions and exploring a place that we've been to before, but is new and expanded, has been awesome. Both comforting because we've been there before, but also haunting because if you're back, if your character's back, that means there's trouble.
It's real bad.
Real bad.
It's real
So
bad.
it's like this double effect happening as I'm exploring the moon. I had a couple jump scares, and there's a moment where you're in a mission, and you got to get out of there, but you're calling for Eriss, and you're not able to answer, and you're not connecting through, and so you're running out of this place where where normally in the past you've been able to pull us out of a trouble spot, and you weren't able to, and so we're just your character's running, and then you get to a point where you then are able to connect with us, and there's this moment where you're saying I'm glad you made it, and it's a great to connect with your character, and I really appreciate the way that the passion you put into it, and the way that you connect to us as the player in these moments of chaos and strife. And it's really interesting how I can listen to your character in game and feel both comforted and like
Concerned.
freaked out at the same time. It's really interesting.
Comfort and concern, all in one.
And we're
Yeah.
getting to know the members of Eris's fire team at
Yes,
the
we
moment
are.
in Shadowkeep.
Yeah,
for
that's
every
fun.
week.
What did you
Really
do to
cool.
them? I'm just kidding.
Are you familiar with the members of your fire team? The lore? Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm the lore is so deep
It is.
and
It's crazy.
and beautiful, and I wish I was as knowledgeable of it as like Bife or Mylan. They're so good. Like I
They
should just
are.
sit and listen to them and
Yeah.
That's what we do, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what we
yeah,
do.
yeah, that's what we do.
teach my podcasters.
We don't know what's going on.
A couple of questions from Twitter. Mr. Goodbite says, what item do you think Eriss will give out for Festival of the Lost, the Halloween event? I'm guessing
Oh,
We
because
taking
it was
got
carrot
raisins
sticks.
before.
We did
Yeah.
get raisins. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I heard someone say the carrot sticks was one of them. I think that's a pretty good guess, right?
That is a
like
pretty
what's
good guess.
something? Yeah.
Some people
we've
still
had
have
raisins,
celery.
What about
and we've had
something?
celery. I don't know. I
something
feel like
drier?
peanut butter. The peanut butter would complete the whole thing, right? Like
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah,
snack
peanut
box.
butter would be great.
Years
after
ago,
school snack.
ants on a log.
It's on a log. over
maybe
there.
not quite so portable though. I feel like carrot sticks is probably like a really good, or like apple slices.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Interesting.
Mama Eris?
how about moon rocks? Just gonna give us
Instead
moon
of
rocks.
coal?
Yeah,
Instead of coal?
Are
Instead of
moon rocks?
coal.
a thing? What are moon rocks?
just moon rocks.
Wait. Wait, is that like a candy called moon rocks?
No,
It should be.
Just moon rocks.
That is
Yeah,
so-
Tef jumped from
Oh, just like
Def
actual
Jump-
moon rocks?
I'm just
From
thinking about
edible-
her being like,
Yes.
beyond crazy at the moment because they're like her friends are haunting her, right? So she's like, have some rocks.
They're giving away these-
Happy Halloween. Have some rocks.
Oh man.
Doughboy asks, does Morla miss Kade? Kade 6?
That's
I appreciate just as much as anyone else does the banter that happened between Eriss and Kade, and I think I love that. I think it was very special, and I think Nathan Fillion's awesome, and I think that sure, it's always sad when you get you come to expect someone to be there and then they're not. There's definitely missing happening there for sure.
Yeah. We kind of expected Holtz to always be here, and now he's not. So we feel that same pain.
Oh, that Holtzman's a missing member of our fire team now. Yeah.
True.
Yes.
Took me a second. I was like, wait, why would Nathan Fillion get in a room with Holtz and Eriss? And I was like, what's going? Oh, right. Good metaphor, Pope. Took me a second.
Thank you.
Hi Junior says, Eriss is a very dark and brooding character. Does playing such a sorrowful character bleed into your life outside the booth?
Yeah.
And how do you cheer yourself up after playing Eriss? I guess we already asked that question, really.
Yeah,
Jamba
I
juice.
think
Yeah.
what's
Smoothie.
They joked
Smoothie.
before if you could
Post-
get your Jamba out.
Post-session smoothie, right?
I don't think she does. I'm not aware of like having a post session blues or feeling like I don't think. I mean, I'm actually thinking like, dude, she does. I think just like the general like we said before about the way sessions have turned out to be where they kind of end on a higher note anyway, probably would like snap me out of that. Though I mean, it is. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if like I'm maybe quieter driving home than I am to session. Just going to that place it's not always easy to brush off. So
Absolutely.
Must be a lot of energy,
it's a lot of
expended.
energy too. Yeah, there's definitely that. There's just like there's like a sense of holding. I feel like oftentimes it's just like
the weight.
like clenching. But what do? I think music is always great. Like play something either like to match my mood, so you feel less lonely when you have music that matches you, and then like ease your way into like something a little bit more uplifting.
Mextrack says, which part of Eriss's personality or experiences do you most identify with?
What parts of Eris's experiences or personality do I most identify with?
Yeah.
I think her melancholy. Like I feel like when I am prone to melancholy, I can be nostalgia and melancholy kind of go hand in hand with me, and I reminisce and kind of will think fondly or muse the past a good deal. So I think that's something that we would have in common. Yeah. We both
Joshua Keaton.
almost exclusively.
You both like mascara a lot of mascara, right?
Yeah, it's true.
just
dripping
streaming down your face at all times, apparently.
Joshua Keaton says, how much agency does a voice actor have in getting their roles? Do they audition? Are they picked, or a combination of both?
Sorry, we cut out a little bit. So how much agency does the voice actor
have in getting their roles? Do they audition, or are they picked, or a combination of both?
Oh, it's auditions. I get email auditions from my agent, and I try to do as many as possible. So often it's numbers, just submit. It's just they happen so many over the course of a week, and it's the trick is to get like really connected to a character that you get via audition that may or may not have a whole lot of information about it, but like get connected to that character and then give your best interpretation or your version of what that is, and then immediately get unconnected from it because there's so many, and B, you have no idea of knowing whether anybody's thoughts about it
Right.
You can ask the engineer or my agent's thoughts about it, but I don't do that for every single one because again, there are just so many. So sometimes I'll opt not to if I feel like it's not a right fit, or but that's mostly it's just audition for. If my agent is sending it to me, then it's for me. It's mine. It's mine to have, so to speak. It could just as easily be mine as someone else's if I audition for it. Yeah.
Do you record at home? Like, do you get the?
I do. I
Yeah.
have a little space in my room, Oralex all around.
That's
Nice.
really cool.
Chaotica
That's awesome.
eyeball and
I don't know what that is, but it sounds dope. The Chaotica eyeball.
The eyeball.
not a bad.
Rudiker says, what DCP member is the most insufferable?
I'm not answering that. That's for y'all to answer.
Pope, you want to just chime in on this?
I
one?
mean, if I was to really pick somebody that was the most insufferable, It would have to have been Holtz. None of you comes even close.
He's not in the room.
He hasn't been on the show in a while, but at the same time, he you guys have a lot of ground to cover before you reach Holtz level.
David Bueller says, "Who is the character you've most enjoyed voice acting?"
Gosh, they're so different. Their characters are so different from me. I feel like, especially this year, it's been, or these past few years, it's really been just like an embarrassment of riches with amazing characters. Like Moss, the narrator in Moss is so different from Battery, so different from Eriss, so different from Brannon, so different from all of them. I'd be really hard pressed to pick a favorite. I really do genuinely love them all, and for totally different reasons, and why they were significant in different parts of my life. Like Battery was very significant in one part of my life, and Moss is very significant in this other part of my life for different reasons. And I don't know. It's like I can't. They're all a part of me too. So it's like I can't pick up a limb. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was looking at your IMDb. I didn't go to the next question.
Fire got distracted.
It's actually really interesting though. While I'm looking at your IMDb, there's so much here. You did She-Ra, Princess of Power, Days Gone, Crackdown 3, Say It Loud. You already mentioned Call of Duty and Moss, Guardians of the Galaxy TV series, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
BioShock, Infamous 2. I was doing that too because you said, "Oh, I'm forgetting some." I was like, "I know you've done," which is understandable, by the way. There's like this huge history since the 2000s.
And there's a we saw comments in questions in Twitter, but it's how does one break into that world of voice acting? You've now you're an accomplished voice actor, but at one point you were the person that wanted to get into voice acting and felt like it was where you could go. Is that how it happened, or did you just stumble on it?
Yeah, more or less. So I've been doing theater since I was a little kid, and I always knew that I wanted to be an actor. And much to the surprise of my mom, because every time I tried something new, she's like, "Oh yeah, I thought that's what you're gonna do." Like I took dance class. She's like, "Oh, she's gonna be a dancer." I took cello. She's like, "Oh, she's gonna be a cellist." I was like, "No, I never wanted to be any of those." The only thing I liked about those was that they were on a stage. It was like the closest thing I could to being an actor. So yeah, I always wanted to perform. And so I went to school for that. And then after college, I went to New York, but I always had this thing. I would get cast in like a commercial here, or like a voiceover for something over here, but I never considered it as a career. I'm not a huge fan of commercials. They're not fulfilling emotionally, creatively for me. I mean, maybe I'm doing them wrong. I'm sure there are a lot of people who do have a lot of creative and emotional fulfillment from them. I will have to learn that skill. I'm just so used to like a process, I guess I'm like something to like a character to really dive into. And so it wasn't until I became aware of BioShock that I realized that there's this whole other type of acting. So I was like, well, I'm getting all these voiceover jobs, but I also need something fulfilling. And then video games was like, two great tastes that taste great together. And so I just decided right then and there that I was going to quit theater altogether and focus all my attention on working in video games. And so from there, it's conferences and conferences is a huge part of it. Going to the game developers conference is a really big part of that. And then spending a lot of time not being great at it and like not really knowing what I'm. Uh-oh, I lost you.
Oh,
Oh,
we're still
We can
here.
hear you.
We still
We can
have
still
you.
hear you.
Me?
We can
I don't
see.
see
We can hear.
you. There you are. Okay.
Back? Perfect.
So spending a lot of time just like really just working on what my voice sounds like, my recorded voice sounds like, what kind of characters I would be cast as just with my normal speaking voice, and then like what kind of accents can I do, and what kind of characters can I just like kind of keep in my back pocket, and how can I stretch my voice, and then learning about, because I
Can I
specifically
ask a
wanted
quick
to work
question?
in game.
Can I ask a quick question on that? So at what point did you decide to add a specific like accent or vocal toolbox to your repertoire, or was it just happenstance of like,
It's all just kind of happening all at the same time. Yeah, it's like as I'm learning my voice, or as dialects has always been I've always loved dialects. Even when I was a little kid, I would try to copy accents that I heard. I actually used to like record them on my cassette recorder and like have conversations with myself using as like try to get my voice as different as possible. So it would sound like I was like different, as many different people as I could get in there. And then it's everything all evolving at the same time, and like, you know, maybe a little bit here, but then this other thing over here, and like, oh, now like I learned, because it's games, like I need to learn how to do efforts and exerts. So like how do I recreate the sound of an effort without like throwing myself up against all over a room, like learning how to act within, like how to act in front of a microphone. I mean, I was so used to being on a stage and having and projecting and being big and huge, and like taking that energy and making it here into this space.
So I feel like this really connects with the Hive Wizard Scream type of thing, where it's like, at what point along your vocal discovery and toolbox were you like, oh, I have this like this Hive sound that I can make, the Scream sound, you know? And like, what was it? Was it just pure inspiration?
I used to make that, not that specific sound. That sound didn't come about until the day of the session.
Okay, yeah.
But I would do. I just loved playing with my voice all through growing up. My sister and I, we would make funny sounds back and forth to each other. We would like do, you know, like how you did like the click. I don't know if you do. We would do this clicky thing in the back of our throats.
Yep.
And then we would try to get one click at a time. And so like just recognizing like where voice can come from. Like, oh, it can come from back here. Oh, it's you know, when I breathe deeper, I can feel my voice in different parts of my body, and that affects the quality of it. And I would do this baby cry, and that was like another kind of like, oh, voice is not just the speaking or the dialects, it's sounds. It's weird. I mean, I geek out over the sound design stuff. I love it.
So cool. It's awesome.
Nolan Rooney asks, what does Eriss like to do in her free time?
I mean,
reminisce.
Think deeply about the world and
contemplate.
Think
garden.
Think fondly of her previous fire team.
She's a gardener.
Oh, for sure.
It's a great great hobby for thinking about stuff while you're gardening. So that would be, that makes sense.
Karaoke.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
She'd
yeah.
be awesome at karaoke.
Definitely.
Oh wait, no, that's me. Oh, sorry.
Oh wait,
She's got her rock
We
though.
love
Eris's
karaoke,
rock.
too.
So maybe she's into geology, you know?
Wait, what was that?
She has her rock, Eris. You know, like the like her.
Uh-huh.
She's always got her Eris's rock, and maybe she's into geology and different formations and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's her major.
She is a rock climber.
Yes.
That's what it is.
She likes to summit all peaks.
And I think this is actually funny because you know, I know that these questions are directed towards you, but then there are also these you know, fans of the games that you voice in. Do you feel like sometimes that people confuse you for the character, that they are then approaching you as Eriss and not Morla, the actor who plays Eriss? And they expect you to embody that person when they meet you, and they're like, you're nothing like I pictured. you
Yeah.
being
Well,
if
I
you're-
think
if you-
I think
You
if
have only
anybody-
2 eyes.
what's your
I think mostly no. I think people
yeah.
get it, and I think if people like if they want to like kind of hang on to that separation, and that's understandable too. And but if there's ever any doubt, just like the moment they meet me, like it's clear, like it's like no, we're very different.
I remember hanging out at I think it was the reveal event, and we were walking around, and I think that I tripped up over that too. It was because I know you from interviewing you, but then also from your character, and you're just this energetic, like fun, like you could not be more different than Eriss, at least like running around and like you introduced 15 different people. You're like, hey, you got to meet this person. You got to meet this person. It was really great to hang out. I think you know, you see that energy, and it's just so different than the character you play in Destiny. It's always fascinating to see who you are, know who you are, and who I've met, and then see how you get to this place where you deliver Eriss. And it's just that's why it's remarkable to me, because I know you in person, and I'm like looking, okay, that's completely different. That's crazy.
Well, I
It's
take
impressive.
all that energy and I just like focus it, and
Yeah.
it's not to be that to not to overuse a word, but to have that much melancholy. It's not to be lazy or
Right.
to be low energy. It's very active. It's actively distressed, actively mournful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the burden. You can
Yeah.
hear the burden on every word that you say as Eris.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep, for sure.
Well, I
That's
wanna keep
a huge
asking.
compliment. I appreciate that.
I want to keep asking community questions, but I know I don't want to keep you all night. But I have, what other question? How many more questions do we got, Briar?
As many as we
Endless.
yeah,
say about-
seriously.
Let's say like 3. Let's say
Three?
Three's a good
Okay.
number. Three's a good.
All right, this one's very important. This one's from Connor Head, and he says, "Do you dip fries in ketchup or do you cover your fries?" The answer will tell us if Eriss is truly corrupted by the darkness.
Wow.
No
This is
ketchup.
No ketchup.
None.
Zero ketchup.
Ever?
Wow.
You use mayonnaise, don't you?
Any
You use
condiment?
mayonnaise.
I don't use a condiment.
Is it
Just
is it because you don't like ketchup just straight up, or are you like adverse to
like
the
fry.
things? What's that?
I don't. The fry is enough.
Okay. You respect the fry.
Huh.
I
Eris
got
is,
you. Yeah.
Eris is simple. She likes a simple fry.
Just the salt
tells us
on
a
it,
lot.
at
Which
least.
is also
Isn't-
the
is-
same
wasn't
reason
it-
about the getting candies after dinner.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't get a candy
Yeah,
after.
after dinner mint stuff.
Don't
Yeah.
need the
Mhm.
meal stands on its own.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
If I'm satiated within the meal, I don't need
You don't need a follow up, right?
What
I
about
did
an
see that
espresso?
question.
a paltry little treat it is, right? If
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a treat, it'll be something substantial.
You
This
wanna-
flies in the face of Briar's position that fries are just a vehicle for ketchup.
That is correct.
Oh God.
They are
You
a
are
delivery
at
device
polar
for ketchup.
opposites of this position. Just so you know.
Not be more different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this one, but I thought it was a funny question to ask, so I'm going to ask it. Spook for Everyone says, "Who's the weirdest Bungie employee you met when working with them?"
Weird can be an endearing word.
It was- weird.
Or maybe a
I don't
shout
know.
out to
I know
someone
that
that you work
I
with.
wouldn't
Holtzman.
qualify or anyone as weird. Everyone that I've met at Bungie and that I've been lucky enough to work with either directly or indirectly has been inspirational and deeply dedicated and respectful and driven. And I'm I don't know.
So you haven't met Holtzman yet, then?
Maybe, yeah, you know, he's, it's a
I like it. Y'all like being like the Kade to my Eriss. Great. I get like very like deep, and you're like, "Papa!"
That's what Briar's good for. I get serious, and then he just makes, you know, just destroys
He starts
them.
talking about birds in Australia.
Yeah.
I need that counterweight.
Aaron L., this will be the last question. Aaron L. says, from this day forth, only one may live. The others will be lost to the sands of time. I'm going to need help with this one. The first of the three choices is gumbo. The second one, I'm going to guess, is beignets. It's B-I-G.
Beignet.
And the last one is boudin.
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 All New Orleans choices, huh?
Wait, what's the question?
So the question is, you got those three choices. You have to eliminate two from the planet Earth forever. You only get to keep one.
And it's boudin, beignet, and
Gumbo.
Gumbo.
oh,
Just
okay.
any
You gotta
gumbo.
keep gumbo.
You have
You
to
gotta
keep going.
Got to keep gumbo.
That's the priority.
Yeah.
See, that's pretty
Yeah.
broad because gumbo is like, you know,
Right, you can have different
a
kinds of
category,
gumbo.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can put anything in there.
But like a beignet is a beignet.
One can live off of gumbo. You can actually have boudin in your gumbo, so there's a work.
Right. That's
You
there's
can
a,
have
work,
beignet in
a
your
loophole.
Gumbo, so
We like loopholes.
We do.
I would
Yeah,
be
beignets
sad. I
would be the
sad
first to
to
go.
miss out. My son would be incredibly sad to miss out on some beignets, but he's a big fan of gumbo too, so that's fine.
What is a beignet? I don't know
A
what that
beignet?
is.
It's
fresh.
like
yeah.
think of like a funnel cake and a sopapilla kind of meeting.
Okay.
So it's square and doughy like a funnel cake and crispy. It's deep fried, and then sprinkled with powdered
It's
sugar.
a fancy.
But then it's like full of air.
Fancy New Orleans
Those are all words
donut.
that I like.
Fancy donut.
That's a very fresh.
They're the
fancy
best
donut.
ones to really, if you're going to make them at home, and you can, and they turn out pretty well. But the trick is cottonseed oil.
Cottonseed oil.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you
That's
should not.
your
you
actually frying oil?
Yeah, you just get like a big old thing of
Cottonseed
fill it
oil.
up with
Yeah.
cottonseed oil and deep fry your beignet.
Okay.
You should also
Nice.
describe what
need it.
boudin is as well, because
What?
I've had boudin balls, and
Boudin balls, yeah.
I'm wondering, is it always that? And like, what? Most people probably
I've
don't
never
know what
had-
boudin
Well, I
is.
guess I probably have had a boudin ball. It's like it's a sausage. It's a sausage with like rice and liver inside.
Right?
Oh.
Hard pass.
It's good. It's really good.
It is really
All
good.
food in New Orleans.
On that
is amazing.
note, I don't know. Maybe this is like alienating, but like we're talking about food. I was very proud of myself when I was in Australia that I had
Didn't get eaten by anything?
kangaroo salami and emu salami.
Wow.
Did you eat that with
Are y'all all
Marmite?
quiet because my computer's glitching, or are y'all quiet?
Oh, we're
Yeah,
definitely
really
here.
quiet.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh no, we're back.
Discord being
Was
Discord.
that with or without the Marmite? We saw that you got some Marmite in Australia.
Oh, like the Vegemite?
yeah, the Vegemite. Yeah, sorry, that's
Oh,
Australian.
I haven't had any of that yet. I have
Oh,
not
no?
had
Oh,
it yet.
did you brought it home from
I brought it
Australia?
home.
Are you scared?
Oh.
Scared to try it?
I'm not. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're gonna
I
need a
was taught
review.
the proper way. I'm doing a thin coating on toast with butter.
Huh.
I don't know why people go through the trouble of buying it Vegemite in the store when you can just scrape it out of the inside of your like vegetable drawer when like stuff starts to rot and like turn. Like you leave something in there for too long and it starts to grow and
It's like an oil pan
disintegrate.
in your
You
kitchen.
can just take a spoon or a
I was
knife
thinking
and
more
just
like
scoop
in the
that right
engine
out.
when you pop the
Got it.
hood of your car in the engine, you like
Sure.
scoop a little grease off there. A
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
Vegemite.
Right.
Well, I'm
Probably a
looking
little-
forward to it.
Well, that
I
sounds delicious.
I love trying new food. Strange foods, interesting foods.
I think it's funny
Well,
how
we
like
did
What's that?
I just think it's funny how people always recommend that you want to do as like a thin layer as possible on a piece of toast. And
Well,
it's
because
like,
it's just an
It is-
accent.
it
It's
is
an
saying
accent
something.
to your
It does
toast.
not instill.
yeah, but it's like,
It's
what
like
am I
ketchup on fries.
salting the
Tef.
toast? You know, no ketchup. Like I'm gonna dunk the ketchup. You know, like the fry is getting submerged, and then it's like it's an experience, goes hand in hand.
I mean,
Whereas this
caviar
sounds like
is-
it's just being
caviar is-
seasoned. You know,
Well, caviar on toast is delicious, but too much caviar on toast is not.
Fair point.
So
Fair
it's a flavor.
yeah. So here's the
Put a
other
bit of
problem.
hot
Here's the
sauce
other
on
problem.
everything.
When you say you have to add butter to it as well, butter goes great with everything. Like you could have,
That's true.
You know-
There's no wrong way to use butter.
I think of it as like
really.
a non-drying agent. That's how I interpret it as.
It's a lubricant.
See, that's also part of the
Yeah.
tough sell. It's
Without
like
using
it's
that
dry.
word, yeah, that's what it is.
It's like you don't want too much, and it's kind of dry. So bring some butter. Buyer beware.
As you can tell, Morla, we give the hard-hitting questions of this community. We really want to know what makes you tick. I wanted
If you want to
to.
say too, while we're just kind of vaguely on the topic of Australia, what a wonderful community there is there. It was everyone was so loving and warm and gracious and generous with their time and there it was the Guardians Down Under and the periodic table of awesome and all the journalists that I met there were so great and I just want to like a shout out to them for making me feel so at home, so far from home.
That's really nice. I wanted to thank you again for coming on our show and being such a huge supporter of what we do here on the podcast. We're huge fans of the work you do in Destiny. I just love that you were part of this expansion and that we were going to get to have the story progress with your character and you at the helm of that. So we're excited. I wanted to ask all these questions about where you're going with Eriss, but I know you couldn't answer them. So I just didn't bother. Like, I knew you were going to say an NDA like 15 times. So I couldn't do it.
You're
But,
wise. You're wise.
I was briefed by DJ
No,
what I
time is
couldn't
much
ask
better
you.
spent
So
on questions of ketchup.
yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
can
true.
delve into that.
But I do really sincerely appreciate the work and hard work you put into this community and how connected you are. Like that means a lot. That means incredibly a lot of just how you reach out to us and not just this podcast, but the community as a whole, that you're familiar with who we are and that we're and you take part in it. And that's special. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, it's easy. It's really easy. I just kind of casually reply to comments on Twitter when people were nice. And as a result, I feel like I have this an amazing group of friends. You are all my friends, and it's not it's not just community. It's great friendships have been forged from this, and I am the grateful one. And thank you for continuing to be so supportive and giving the community and myself as a member of the community a place to have this conversation and to have fun and talk about the game that we love so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Well,
And thank you for
we're-
doing the scream because I know it's probably not a normal
thank
thing
you.
to happen.
I know
That was a
that,
freak.
We were all-
that definitely
that
was
was pretty
awkward, and I
amazing.
apologize, but that was amazing to hear it
That
live.
was one of those things that I'm pretty sure I
saw
said
Pope
that
go,
we don't
"Oh, no.
do on the
no."
show, but
But it was amazing.
it's just
It was
it's
amazing.
good.
It was
great.
all in the moment. It felt inspired.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, thanks. And I know you got to get out of here. We really appreciate you coming on. We look forward to see where Destiny goes, and I know Eriss will be there to shepherd us along the way and pull us out at a last minute's notice if we get too much in trouble. So come to me. Anyway, never mind.
Hey, if I wanted to get
right.
a follow up on the Vegemite and see what your thoughts and reactions are, where would I find that on Twitter?
Yes. Clever the way you phrase it. You can go to @actor_Morla. And
Nice.
that's where I'm playing.
And you'll find all our socials and ways to get a hold of you in the description of the podcast. We sincerely appreciate you coming on, and I know you got family at home and you got to run, but have a very good evening.
Thanks, Morla.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Morla.
Thanks for being on, Morla. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for the.
He's waiting for you to hang up still. It's normal. Boy. Wait, you're just going to close the laptop?
Oh,
I love
great.
it.
Okay, that's
Wait,
perfect.
wait,
That was
where's the-
what a great ending.
There we go. We'll
Just
wait.
shut the
I
laptop.
love that.
Let's get rid of it.
I've been there in Discord, actually, where I'm like, where did the button go?
There is a, who knows?
Like, whatever.
It may still be on, even with the laptop off.
You see the camera spinning around out a window, like, F it. Now it's
That's great.
off.
Turn off.
All right.
That was
That was
amazing.
awesome.
That was
I love
fantastic.
Dust.
Yeah.
It's so
She's
good
really the
having
best.
Morla on. She's such an amazing person.
Yep.
That Australian bird theory though, that was wackadoo. I don't know.
That was solid.
Wow.
And thanks guys for playing in on that. Like I thought that was fun, and I hope
It was a lot of
we
fun.
don't get roasted too much in the chat for people that think we were being serious. That why were you interrupting? Marlon?
All the people that tuned out in the middle of that and didn't
Yeah,
wait
they're
for
like,
the joke to
"Damn
drop,
They're like,
you missed out.
really gone
That
downhill,
was a lot of fun.
DCP.
So we got to
I've
talk
done more
about
than forever,
Destiny
so-
here, right?
Oh yeah,
There's
was
some
updates.
we've had Iron Banner come out since the last
yeah.
show. We
Have
had
you guys
a
played
lot.
Iron Banner?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
played a good amount of Iron Banner.
I played a ton of it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm enjoying this Iron Banner. I like the new meta, or the way the new meta seems to be playing out with more pulse rifles. I don't know. I'm just having fun in there.
It's definitely shifted, and I don't think we're in the majority, Briar. Because
Okay.
no,
Okay,
there's
I
a
would
lot of
say
salt
I
being
don't
thrown,
hate
so-
it. There's some matches where I'm like, oh dear God, please stop it. But then there's other matches where I'm like, yeah, this is totally fine. The quest was pretty short. Well, for me, I can't. Obviously, it's not for everybody. My experience of doing the quest was it was pretty short, and then the bounties were not bad. We've had some bounties in the past where I'm like, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some objection of the bounties requiring specific guns to be used, and
But
there's been
maybe
different
that's
philosophies.
a good thing,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe it's a good thing that I understand that, especially as light level is enabled. So you're like, oh, I got to use this thing, but I don't even have a thing that is that level, which is why I liked that when you finish the different steps of the quest, they gave you that next weapon. Like they
Right.
gave it to you. So you'd have a
Mhm.
good leveled weapon to use for that step at least.
Some
I
random
haven't got there
Wizen
yet.
rebuke. Be like, here you
Yeah,
go.
maybe
Have
you get
fun.
a trash roll,
Yeah, you
maybe you
gotta-
get an okay
that's right.
roll. Maybe you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
So I'll give my my overall. First day, definitely mixed bag. I played 8 hours of it, which arguably is too much
Ooh.
Iron Banner. By
I
the,
played about 45 minutes of it.
so you played like 3 matches, right?
Yeah. Barely.
I completed the quest on 2 characters and all the bounties in one day, and I feel like the meta has slightly shifted. Yes, you do see more pulse rifles.
A wee breeze.
Yeah, a breeze of meta has gone north a bit. But it's still, when I'm asked, Mountaintop Recluse is the majority of what you end up seeing. Obviously, Arentil is very strong, which I have been using, and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I'll use that damn Arentil. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me, honestly. I feel like the quest, if there wasn't 4 pinnacles per character to chase after, I would have played 3 matches like you, Briar, and been like, well, that was Iron Banner. All right. I'm done, you know. But because it's pinnacles, I want to get these drops because I would like to see my character go higher. So I have this draw, this desire to play. I just have to be okay with the fact that part of my sanity might be slipping at times with the way just SBMM and Iron Banner overall feels in the game. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm against a full team of one-eyed mass mountaintop recluse titans, and I just tell them that I hate them. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough for players at your level and what you see on a daily, because skill-based matchmaking for me is it might as well be like that when you go to a circus and you see that kind of all the clowns run out in between the acts just to entertain people. Those are my Iron Banner matches. Those are
mine too.
You got people out there, honking horns and the craziness of Iron Banner for me is just a mixed bag of people playing a ton of different stuff, and you don't really see what you guys are talking about. Like for me, the players I play against, you're just as welcome to see a sniper as you would a, grenade launcher, as you would a auto rifle. I mean, it's everything and everywhere, and it's fun. To me, I had a blast playing it. I love seeing the variety of it. I know that you guys aren't going to see the meta shift because you're at that level, but for me, it feels like people are trying different things. And I think some of it is the bounties are forcing them to try different things. And then after this, it's going to settle into what they like. But I didn't have a bad experience in it. I felt like I was getting to play some control and getting cool rewards for it.
I noticed a lot fewer hand cannons, a lot more scouts and pulse rifles.
Yeah, which is in the quest. You have to get pulse rifle kills with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you guys tried playing with hand cannons though lately? I mean, they really took a nosedive.
See, I have a different experience with the whole hand cannon thing. I think maybe it's because I tend to play a little bit more up close in general, so maybe I don't feel that range drop off as much. But especially using a controller, there were guns that people on PC loved, like Thorn, Ace of Spades, that on a controller, I was like, man, it just doesn't feel consistent or accurate. And when they did that change to the animation of hand cannons, it's really opened up the amount that I can use. I've been using Thorn a lot, and it's been really fun to use Thorn now. Whereas before I was like, I don't like this. This doesn't feel nice. So it's for me, it's been great because it's opened up this whole slew of weapons that I just never used before.
For me, up until this point, hand cannons felt almost like they did in year one of Destiny 1, where you could just use them in every situation. Like they were good close up, they were good across the map. And now it seems like they are the range has been pulled back significantly, unless you have explosive rounds, and then that helps them out tremendously.
So I'll be honest, I don't really mind with the hand cannon changes with the range. Like I feel like in the proper range that they're built for, they're very accurate. But when you try to get into medium to long distance range, you get punished for it. And honestly, you should. It's a hand cannon. It's not supposed to cross map you people. It's not supposed to compete with long range pulse rifles or scout rifles. I still have a problem with scout rifles because I feel like close to mid range, they have this weird accuracy thing that like the hitbox is smaller than it is when they're farther away. Because I feel like they're tuned for long range, but most of the maps don't have that many engagements with that kind of long range type of stuff. So I have noticed that pulse rifles are kind of looking like they're on top right now if you want to have a jack of all trades, medium range. Like if you go shoddy pulse or Voop pulse, that type of stuff, you end up having a lot of distance covered right now because you don't have a ton of long range maps except for maybe Widow's Court, which even then you can get by without having it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that the weirdest thing about the hand cannons is the range drop off feels very abrupt. Right? It feels fine to like kind of like that medium range, and then once you're outside of that range, it doesn't feel like it gets gradually smaller in like a long slope. It feels like it's just like, okay, you're now like looking at an 8-shot kill instead of the 4-shot kill that you had if the guy was 5 meters closer. Like, so it makes it real unpredictable at those kind of medium ranges.
I think that's also maybe another reason why with using a controller it doesn't feel as bad, because when people are further away and you're using a controller, it's much more difficult to hit them.
The aim assist doesn't kick in.
Yeah, the aim assist isn't as good for me. So I could see that if you're, using keyboard and mouse and you're hitting people from that far away, that this range drop off would be very jarring. But yeah, with a controller, it's just like
That makes a lot of
feels
sense.
awesome.
It would also indicate when you're going to do max damage, because you can kind of feel that magnetism on a controller where you don't get that feel on a mouse.
Yeah.
Right. There's not that stickiness on a mouse that you get from a controller.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Again, I'll be honest. Like I use hand cannon a little bit while playing Iron Piner, and like in the proper range, it still felt really good. I was still like, oh, this is nice and crispy. It's when I try to engage somebody with a pulse rifle that's across a wide distance, and normally I would have gotten headshots, and I'm not, or they're lower range, lower value. Then it's like, yeah, it's okay.
If you got someone spamming or shooting the last word at you, and it's you're at a medium range, it just doesn't compute that it should be hitting you as hard. That you should be losing a gunfight to a medium range pulse rifle. But so the shift for me into making hand cannons not viable at those ranges was good. And I know that's going to go against a lot of like the hardcore players who have felt that those changes were bad, but I feel like it makes these guns that I like to use, auto rifles, pulse rifles, viable. And and I like that. I like being able to change guns and gun types and not be locked into one thing.
Have you guys, Watts especially, have you checked out Sunshot at all since the update?
Yeah, I did.
A little bit.
I really like that gun.
Feels way better. It also doesn't it have the explosive rounds on it, Sunshot?
It's got explosive rounds. It also does like its own special version of Firefly. It got bumped up to 12 rounds. It used to be 8.
Amazing.
Yep.
And if you get the catalyst, the range is super long for 150 RPM hand cannon. Like it's kind of a really good all rounder. It's excellent in PvE right now, I think.
Yeah,
just for clear mob.
It's so fun. It's
one of
a
my
really
favorites.
fun gun as well, which always helps.
It was
Yeah, it
already
really-
amazing. It just didn't have the magazine size they've adjusted, and that has,
Yes, that made a big difference.
It's really made a huge
Yeah.
difference. Like you always felt like you were short on ammo before. Now you're like, oh, it's kind of right where it needs to be, is in PvE in particular.
Yeah.
I love that gun. Being on the grind, I'm like, I'm missing. I can't be using it right now because I'm doing all this other stuff that I need to use stuff. And I've been trying to use the raid weapons, by the way, and to go back to PvP. I got lucky and got a Sacred Providence, the pulse rifle from that, which is really similar.
What's your role?
Feel in a lot of ways to.
Here comes the tough
Come
shame. Get your
on.
belts ready,
Come on.
everybody. He's
Shame.
preparing. He's
Outlaw
preparing for
kill
some
clip.
tough shame.
Okay.
You got outlaw kill clip.
Yeah, I got a lot of kill clips. So not a perfect
What
god
else?
roll or anything.
Tefty's like,
That's not bad.
See, Tefty's like, what
What
else?
else you want?
What else?
What else you got?
I
What
bet I
else?
can one up you on something in there.
Don't remember off the top of my head. I feel like I had an alloy mag or.
Here's
Oh,
a spoiler.
bummer.
Tefty
Not-
got
not-
a ridiculous roll,
Yeah,
and he's going to lord it over.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Does it
I'm
even work
ready
with
for
his ancient PC? I mean, the
I
PC
know.
that Tefty's running with.
It's like
these
running
days,
on fossil fuels
right
on the back. I have
He's got to
pour
wind
oil
it
in
up
there
to
in
get
the
it
beginning.
started.
Actually, no. It's got light mag and full bore
Well, better luck next time, right?
with the stability masterwork.
Oh,
I've been using that gun too, and I
Yikes.
really enjoy it.
You want
It's
range
fun.
on that? Huh?
Can we, can,
It-
you
it's
brought
nice.
up a.
But-
So go ahead, friend.
But just to finish, I was going to say I actually was already playing pulse rifles because I generally suck and need to stay away from people. But I played in the previous before the update, right? I like pulse and like Mindbender's Ambition, or I would swap and go. What's the one with left in the name in the energy slot?
left
red
side
and
or right?
white.
Red,
Yeah,
right side
that
or wrong
one.
or
So I would
left or
swap
whatever.
that with like a toil and trouble. But anyway, I played that a lot already, and I did notice the biggest change, like you guys are talking about. There's something about definitely like when it gets up close, I feel like I want a hand cannon because pulse rifles. I don't know if they've really changed or it's the way people play them, but I feel like I definitely now have to really push with the shoddy. But I kind of want to have a hand cannon. But you're forced to choose, and I feel like that's what has changed the most. If you're going to play with a hand cannon, you got to play up close. You can't play far away anymore like you were.
Yeah,
with
their
a
sweet
pulse or a
spot
scout.
is
And everybody's
close.
like, it's broken. I feel like that's the reaction. Or people like, you broke it, but
They may have
It's
just
making you
fixed it.
think about changing your loadouts more often, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a healthier environment to have to think about different loadouts for sure. Fran, I just want to let you know this is what you want to look for. If you do get another Sacred Providence, you want to try to get
Jesus.
yourself some armor-piercing rounds, some hammer forged rifling on the barrel, and then if you can,
PvP?
get yourself a ranged masterwork. That is what I have with the outlaw kill
Oh,
clip
there it is.
on the Sacred Providence. So just
Nice.
want to
It's-
give you some guidance.
What-
All right, of what to look
Actually,
out for.
I like talking roles. I feel like sometimes I ask that stuff on the show, and people are like, "You don't know," and we don't even go over it. So I actually appreciate it. That was a great TEF lecture. And on that, I was gonna say, it seems it's in this line of like it's a brand new gun. It looks hot, and I'm struggling.
good.
And I would love you guys' feedback as better PvP experts. Like, but what about Blast Furnace or Go Figure? Like, tell me why I should use this, if at all.
I feel like they're still good, but they're not as good as Sacred Providence. But also,
Really?
yeah, when you have a really great roll
The handling feels awesome, and I'm like, the stats don't seem to add up
for
on
Sacred
paper.
Providence,
Yeah,
I don't know what it
Like
is.
I compared
It
it to the Blast Furnace. The Blast Furnace looks better on paper.
right? Yeah. Well, it's a 4-shot. Actually, it's a 4 burst. Blast Furnace is 3 burst.
Oh, is it? I
Pretty
didn't
sure.
notice that
Yeah,
about it.
pretty sure Blast Furnace. Somebody in chat can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's
No,
the
they're
difference.
both 4 burst.
Are they both 4 burst?
They're both 4. Yeah, they're both aggressive burst.
Oh.
That's what they're labeled as. But
You know which pulse I
My
really
bad.
like?
it is
I
good.
like Last Perdition.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Last
I've heard
Perdition,
that's really
I got
good,
a
yeah.
really nice one. It just feels.
It's
It feels
a
like a
good
Hawksaw.
pulse.
It
It
feels.
is. It is quality.
Yeah.
It's got a similar feeling.
So here's the other one that I would look out for that seems to destroy the
Trials.
claw of the wolf or
Oh,
whatever it
yes.
is.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. It's really
Claws
good.
of the Wolf. That's
That thing.
been around for a while. That one has.
Yeah.
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 So with the way things are feeling right now, if you can get an outlaw kill clip, range, and everything on that,
Mhm.
you're going to destroy people with that thing because it shreds. I've died so quickly
The
to
problem
it.
with that is it's an energy weapon.
Yeah, you do have to use up an energy slot, but it kills so quick. It feels like Grasp of Moloch type of thing going on with it.
Yeah, it's got a 540 fire rate. It's a little bit faster than the 450 you get from the other guns we were just talking about,
Mhm.
like the Go Figure archetype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are shredding with it.
Yeah, so Sacred Providence definitely good, and I feel like it's of the best of the 4 burst. But if you want the best of the best for pulse rifles, I feel like that Claws from the Wolf is basically the top tier right now. If you can get that roll,
yeah.
It's
People are talking about-
it's just destroying in PvP when you jump it in there. You see them.
Yeah, a lot of people are using it.
Mhm.
People were
They are, yeah.
also saying if you happen to play Trials of the 9 and got Darkest before that was doing.
Well, you
quite
can
the
pull
work,
that
too.
out. Yeah.
yeah, I can print
Yeah,
that.
if you earned it back then.
If
though,
you
right?
earned it, that's
can't-
right.
It's kind of cool actually for that to be back as something you can't get, unless you were there. But I heard it was good.
Yeah,
I haven't pulled it out of my collection. I do have it.
There is a while we're on the topic of pulses, the abhorrent pulse rifle from the Vex. What is it?
I
called?
like it.
oh
The
yeah,
Vex offensive.
Offensive.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
You can farm that pretty easily, and it's a
Yeah.
really effective pulse rifle if you're looking for a specific role for it, or you want to try different roles. Getting some of those essences from Eriss and just going in, you will get 2 or 3 in a run. Well, not always. I guess I feel like I've been getting a lot of them. You get a lot of the scout rifles, which I really think, as much as I've tried all the different roles of scout rifles, what is the name of that one that they dropping for you?
Talons
It's talent.
for the Iron Banner.
It's no for the Vex.
Oh, my bad. I don't know.
Offensive. So when you're running the Vex offensive, there's a scout rifle that continuously drops over and over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And I've tried thousands of different rolls on it, and I feel like I can't get one that I really like. But the pulse rifle is definitely worth grinding for, and you can take it into PvP, and it hits really hard. It hits, and it's like a bygones, and you can really get a very good roll on it
Nice.
and get it
I
going.
haven't tried that in
I like
PvP.
The Lincoln Green is another 540
Yeah.
round per minute gun, but
Mhm.
that one is it's not an energy, it's kinetic.
Mhm.
You get a good roll on that. I don't know where you'd get that
Can
anymore. I
you
haven't seen it
get-
drop in a while.
Can you actually get multiple?
Yeah, you can get Lincoln Green from
The gunsmith?
No, what's his name from the gunsmith?
From
But you
Devram
also
K.
get it from Devram K.
Oh, okay.
That
Right.
has.
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that dropped with different rolls.
It's a really fun pulse rifle. I kept one and I bring it around. I'm a huge fan of pulse rifles. I always have been, and there's a reason why I like this meta is because now I can now use these guns that I really enjoy and they're effective.
What
But,
about the vigilance wing? Is that any good at this point? Because I
think
remember
it
when.
is.
So yeah.
Is it
I've seen
good?
people, I felt people shoot
What's
me
better
with it.
than 4 bursts, 5 bursts?
5 bursts.
Right.
Five head.
Seems like it would be good.
And
in
you
this
can use
meta.
your air intel.
Yeah.
Right there.
When your teammates die, it heals you. So
Bam.
I've also been using the Raid Shoddy, the Prophet of Doom. That thing is a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot of impact, a lot of range, and now I'm just searching for a good roll.
Well, speaking of good rolls, I have a question for Watts. I wanted to stick on pulse rifles for a second. Watts, because of the
Yes.
new changes of the to the matchmaking system and giving me an opportunity to go solo queue in survival, I was able to get Redrick's broadsword.
okay.
So
Very
on
nice.
my own, I just wanted to play, and then I thought, I go in this solo playlist and I get it. Now they're dropping all the time because after you unlock it, it starts to drop
Right.
a lot.
Yeah.
What's a decent roll for that?
No idea.
No idea. You don't use it.
I haven't used it in a very long time. I've seen some people say that they've really liked it since the change.
Sure.
But yeah, I have not used it in a long time.
I feel like
Yeah, I
I'm
have
getting
no
a
idea.
ton of them now, and I'm just really curious which is the good one, so I can delete the rest. I've got,
Generally, like if you look for range and kill clip
Yeah.
and outlaw, like it's usually not going to steer you wrong looking for that combination.
Pretty much, right?
Or rampage,
Looking
anything that
for
helps
range.
with damage.
And obviously
And
with broadswords, you have the desperado, like you have those perks that are fixed. So yeah, I would
Yeah.
just say go for anything with range.
Range. Yep. Rifle
Range is
barrel.
always good.
Armor piercing rounds gives range. I don't know if you can get accurized on it. If you can't, again, look for armor piercing and then range masterwork.
Okay. It feels like I'm liking the guns that we're getting that are dropping right now, and that we can do these activities and get these random rolls for them and go looking for a gun that fits our purpose. I know a lot of people are upset or have been talking about air intel, and I know Tefty, you brought it up as kind of like you didn't, you're kind of ashamed that you use it, but
I'm not really ashamed,
Sounds
honestly.
ashamed. No,
he's
you
not. No, he's
You
not.
get the
He's
wrong
trying to keep it
impression there.
low key. So
Oh, okay.
No, man. I mean,
'Cause,
honestly, if somebody is running directly at me with a shotgun and I hit him with the VOOP, that's your fault, man. Like, you shouldn't
Yeah.
run at me with a shotgun out in the open.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
It's if people are curious about where to, like, the best way of getting an errand, have a nice in your collections from earlier. It's a year 1 of Destiny 2, right? You could have there's a fixed static roll that you can pull from collections, and it's pretty darn good. But if you want to play in Menagerie, there's a recipe for that, and you can, in a night, I think you could get a really good roll that you would be able to be happy with in PvP.
That's where mine came from. In the beginning,
Yeah,
in
mine
June.
too.
In June, I farmed for an air until I was like, let's see if this is really good.
Yeah, what's the good roll on that again, too, by the way? I mean, why don't you just
There's
tell
a
me?
lot of
that
good
one's
rolls.
Skip to that
stability. It's stability that you want to be going
Range,
for there. 'Cause
range.
It keeps the spread
Because the
pattern.
bolts.
That's actually that's misleading, Tefty.
Mm-mm.
You would think it's range, but what you want to do is keep that spread pattern. Stability actually
Stability
keeps
is
that spread
huge.
pattern
You
small.
throw a counterbalance on
So
there.
you get is you get range because the stability is better. Fallout did a big video on this, and it was really interesting.
Okay. It's funny, yeah, there's so many rolls across all the different weapons. It just is hard to remember,
So-
like, what is the sort of preferred chosen roll on a lot of
Yeah,
this.
the one I'm using is high impact reserves and under pressure. So accuracy and stability and damage get amped up on the last 2 shots. So that's why if you run a roll like that, you want range on that, and then you throw a counterbalance on there, and then it's just like you end up mapping people. The problem is if you shoot shot 5 or 4, it's very inaccurate. But as soon as you get shot 3, 2, and 1 will make
Right.
people go, That's stupid. You delete that gun right now.
Because it maps them from a far
I've hit people from
distance,
some
right?
ridiculous
you can
distances.
map people with that gun. It almost doesn't matter what your role is because if you just look at the base stats of the thing, it's crazy.
I think one of the key things that I found is liquid coils. So
Exactly.
liquid
I've heard a lot about
coils
liquid
slows
coils.
down the charge rate, but it maxes out the impact. So
Yeah.
you can tag somebody pretty easy with that and at range. And then so with liquid coils and a range masterwork, I also run one with moving target and backup plan. And so what I like about that is I can get in with if I get in close and someone comes in, so I like using pulse rifles and auto rifles. If someone gets into is being aggressive on me and they come at me quick, when I switch over to the air intel from my primary, the next shot is like immediate. Backup plan puts
that's
it into
dirty, Pope.
It's really dirty. And I'm telling you guys, I feel finally vindicated that I can take care of these shotgun rusher. You know, I feel like I can handle that person that's being aggressive in a way. If they're not smart about it, you know, they get vooped. So
Yeah, that's that plan C roll that you've got.
Yep.
And it's so useful.
it
It
is.
is.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
backup plan is cool.
That's a play style I haven't been able to get behind. I tried it and
Quick swap.
Yeah, I'm very proactive in engaging in my targets. I'm not
Yeah.
reactive in that sense of having somebody run up behind me because for the most part, I'm usually aware of the radar. So if a shotgun rusher is trying to flank me, most of the time I'm aware.
Already on top.
Yeah, so I'm already pre-charging as they're coming around the corner. So it like throws my game off with the backup plan type of thing.
I think there's a lot of players now that are using, and the hunter are going invis as a hunter and trying to flank on some of these maps.
Never heard of it.
Watts all day.
Watts is you watch Watts play, and she is insanely good at that. Half the time people aren't even looking at her when she's shooting them. But
You're playing
you know,
Invis, huh?
oh, she's ridiculous.
I got a Capri Sting build that I like.
Is that the one you made a video of a couple of days ago?
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
Was it yesterday?
Yep.
You need to
All
check out that video because I watched it and I'm like, okay, these are the jerks that
If you can track me through a wall with your one-eyed mask, I will also do the same. With my smoke.
it's a great time to be messing around. If you've been holding off trying Iron Banner, I think you should jump in there. The bounties aren't that hard to do. The armor it's the new 2.0 armor. One of the things that I really like about Iron Banner right now is that you can turn in those tokens to Zavala and get Saladin and get the mods that are enhanced.
Yeah, enhanced
You can get
mods,
enhanced
yeah.
mods from him, and I've gotten some really cool ones. Enhanced sniper, reloader. There's a bunch of really cool mods that are dropping in Iron Banner right now, and I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the only places that you can get them right now. Is the new 2.0 enhanced mods?
They also come out of the raid. some
Well,
of
the raid and then
everything.
Iron Banner,
Nightfalls.
but I don't know if you get them
Nightfall.
anywhere.
Yeah, Nightfalls.
You can
also.
get them in the Nightfalls.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but only
Okay.
the high
I haven't
level
getting
ones,
them
right?
drop anywhere else really in
950
the
and
number,
980.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the
I think
volume. Oh, okay, because I'm not up there. That's why.
But I mean, you're right. It is limited. It's not like you're just going to be doing like a heroic public and get
Yeah.
an enhanced. You have
Yeah.
Iron Banner is a really good opportunity, and that's in addition to trying to get all your pinnacles. Is like you want to finish your quest, which I'm trying to do, so I can get and turn in my tokens because you can't do that till you finish. Which then maybe you'll get an enhanced mod out of it. You have a limited time to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's funny, they basically transferred before it was on the armor, right? So they kept it in a way, not exact as him, but the concept is like you used to be able to get enhanced Iron Banner armor.
Right.
Now you get it in mod form.
Yeah.
So they kind of preserved that idea.
Yeah.
Now that
I
we're
don't
3
mind that,
weeks
by the way.
in, how are you guys feeling about Armor 2.0?
I really dig it.
I
Man.
really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
feel less anxiety. Say that.
I wanted to make one more mention about the quest in Iron Banner before we get into Armor 2.0. I just want to say that I'm
Pretend like Briar's
disappointed.
not here.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that you still have to get final blows on guns that aren't easy final blow weapons. And they make you get a bunch of kills with the SMGs. And like yeah, you know, I got the quest done and all that stuff for the characters, but I find it annoying when you deal with Iron Banner, skill-based matchmaking, making the connections be whatever, and a whole bunch of people running around with one-hit kills all the time. Makes it annoying to constantly get assists with an SMG, and then those final blows happen later on. I kind of wish they would just make all primary kill type of stuff assists and final blows. Make final blows count for 2 and assists count for 1, and have it be like 50 or 100. So you're always making progress on there, as opposed to being like, everybody's running around with a shotgun or a VOOP, taking all these kills. You know, it's like that's the only thing that I find annoying about that quest. Everything else I'm fine with, and I think they've done a good job with tuning them a bit. But when that happens, like, it just annoys me. Anyways, it's my only pet peeve. So
You're just cleaning up the types of bounties that they offer,
yeah, with the quests and all
or
that.
the types of quests.
I found it super
activities.
entertaining that the final step of the quest was not even, I don't even know if you could say it was bugs, just someone was late at night at work and just
Yeah,
got
that's
all
funny.
sorts-
On it and
So the quest was, it had a picture of a grenade launcher. So the grenade launcher icon. So it's like, get grenade launch final kills, right? Yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense. Turns out it was supposed to be super final blows, but it's a picture of a grenade launcher, but you actually progress it with an SMG.
That's right.
Hilarious.
That's it. I remember when I was
Like,
making
that's
progress on it, I'm like, what?
like, how are you
Yeah.
even doing it? Yeah.
And then it was completed, and I was going, okay, I guess I did it.
And Bungie
Like,
Twitter said, you know, they said, hey, this is an issue. And Fallout Plays did the greatest
tough
tweet
there.
ever, saying, gave a, listed that out. And the tweet was, use the Force Harry. And then it said Gandalf. And it was a picture of Patrick Stewart saying it.
It's
So
perfect.
good.
Great.
Genius.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things right now that that are returning me to PvP, and I gotta say this clearly. I stopped playing PvP altogether, and I was just playing PvE, and I started from a Call of Duty Halo background. I like PvP, but
Yeah.
I just stopped playing. I've returned now with the Shadowkeep, and I'm enjoying the solo comp playlist a lot.
Yeah, that's nice.
It is
I
really
still
nice.
really hate grenade launchers. Like I just find it infuriating that these things are everywhere, that they're not locked down to the power weapon slot, and that like it's so easy. It's like you have unlimited grenades when you're running one of these things. It's so easy to not have to engage, to not put yourself at risk, but still take huge chunks of damage with this thing that you can bounce off of walls and bounce around corners and stuff like that. I find that to be an infuriating weapon in the Crucible.
Yeah, they're annoying, honestly. I don't find it fun to play against,
Yeah.
personally.
I wouldn't have a problem if they slowed down their ability to reload and made a more specific use. You know, you had to, you were going to be punished if you shot it and missed, right?
I just think it was a mistake to take him out of the power weapon slot.
I like like Fighting Lion. Great gun. I feel like it takes skill to use. Not a tremendous amount, but it takes, you have to use it properly. You need to.
What it takes
you need
is
to
a
know
good
what you're
internet
doing.
connection to the person that you're playing against, so they receive the damage at the right time. That's what it
Yet
takes.
another thing.
Well, that aside, I think that there are some aspects of grenade launchers, like the fact that you can use one that has blinding but very low damage, right? And you can utilize that in a game mode to blind your enemy. So I think there is some tactical advantages of them. I feel like they just have too much ammo readily available and quickly with the reload speeds of the gun.
Yeah.
If they slowed it down, they might be more effective.
They're just annoying to fight against, honestly. And Mountaintop Recluse is just super annoying. And then when it's a
Oh, that's
Titan
the
with
worst.
one eye mask, and it's like, you know what? Maybe I should just find another lobby real quick, because I'm just going to get annoyed by the end of this match and then be in a bad mood over it. So I'll preemptively leave this lobby, so I'm not fighting that. But then you get to another match, and it's like, oh, more unbroken players that are using the exact same loadout. Okay.
That reminds me.
Let's go ahead.
Oh, to be really fast. So you guys have seen all these Destiny 2 names going around on Steam and stuff, and I I ran into somebody last night that was just use Recluse Forehead was the actual name of the player. I actually had to tweet that out to that. It was so perfect.
Me and Tefty ran into someone whose name was Imagine Using, and then it was the icon for
Yes.
Mountaintop and Recluse.
Yeah, it's
So
been.
good.
I mean, I don't know, understand the hate that people are having, like One-Eyed Mask. I mean, it's one of those pieces of armor that I feel is it's a skill-based, armor piece.
Yes.
You match it to your play style, and you really got to execute things perfectly for it to kick in its exotic perk. And
I really like the fact that when I'm using One-Eyed Mask, because I got to use it recently, was that I got shot and I was like, oh God, where did I get shot from? And the game was like, over here, good sir. May you aim your reticle in this direction, for the enemy is right there. And then I shot that person with my Erentil, and then it was like, I see you're weak. May you have this refreshment of good health. And all of a sudden I had an overshield, and I was like, well, thank ye. I shall go do more killing.
You know, Tefty, I was saying, like I've said, I would say the One-Eye Mask is an easy button, but you don't even have to press a button.
No,
That's true.
you
can just get shot.
It's
You don't
literally
even have, someone just needs to look at you wrong.
It's
and you're
literally
like, oh.
like training wheels for the Crucible. It's like, when you're learning to ride a bike, you have these 2 extra wheels to give you guidance. It's literally guidance and a get at 'em boy, an attaboy
I
for
gotta
you.
switch to my Titan.
I feel like you guys are
need the
not
help.
giving that piece of armor, the credit it's due. It's maybe you're just playing against really good players, and you guys just need to get good.
I need to get good, definitely.
I really need to switch and play on that because I'm so bad. Like I would be like still in the bottom, but I'd be doing okay if I just do Titan One-Eyed Mask.
Like
I'm not gonna lie,
personally,
I
Pope,
use it constantly when I'm on my Titan.
It helps, right?
All
super
joking
helpful.
aside, Fran, it is crazy easy and so much fun.
It's busted, man.
I love that.
Stupid easy.
It's busted.
You just
I
like
really
you
need to
run
try
around
it.
in the Crucible, and like one person tags you with one bullet, and all of a sudden you got a
Seriously.
marker on them for like
chase him down.
It is
get an
just-
overshield,
and then you
do
can
it again.
You can get super aggressive with it because that person's going to give you an overshield. It is. I hate to say this because I love playing on Titans. It is a broken piece of armor, and it's too much.
They did mention it in the TWAB this week that
Yeah.
they're looking at it
They
for the
did.
next update.
Yeah, that might be a good segue. Before we do that, what is
I hope
up
they
with
just
wall
delete it.
hacking? Can you guys clue me in on that? If you
Well,
guys
that
seen
is
it or
One-Eyed
heard
Oh,
Mask.
that's what.
Oh, wait though.
One-Eyed Mask puts a marker on somebody who's behind a wall, so you can see where they are.
So I get
In
that.
other games, like they've called that wall hacking because
Do you
it's
mean
cheating to be able to
actual
see people
cheats, Fran?
past.
Or are you talking about stuff in the game that gives you that
Somebody
ability?
yesterday, and maybe help me out, chat. I thought somebody yesterday was giving me the impression that we were having actual bug type stuff of like people were quote unquote like trapped in the walls or something. Maybe I misunderstood it as a One-Eyed Mask thing, but I thought we were having. I misunderstood it as that.
They're actually trying to. They're there with their little
Dude, but
hacksaw. They're trying to hack into
people
the
are
wall.
They're
calling-
Minecrafting into
like-
the walls.
People
I
are
see.
calling One-Eyed Mask's ability wall hacking.
It is. It literally is a
It
wall
is.
hack. Fran,
It is.
It's not a
Same
hack.
with the hunter thing. It's
not
wall
a hack, but it's the
not a
same
hack.
effect.
Fran,
the same.
Yeah, you
Somebody-
can use True Sight. We have stuff you can see through walls.
Yeah.
Like
It's just that
all they have to
way
do is
that
hit one bullet on me. Literally one bullet. Like they do 5 damage from an SMG or something like that. And then they run back to B point. I can watch them be on B point for like 10 seconds. I've predicted people with nades because of this. I'm like, oh, they're all the way across the
Yeah.
map. I'm just like, cool.
Well,
they're
Warlock
dead.
has it too.
I gotta play my Titan. That's what
Titans
that was
right
the.
now are a lot of fun.
Before they nerf it.
There's two
Yeah, we know
things
what's
that
coming.
in the TWAB, they're hitting the bottom tree striker, which is the
Good.
other
Delete
thing
it.
that-
So
Yeah.
delete them all. To be
Because
honest.
Death
anytime
of a
a Titan
striker.
gets anything good, all the hunters are like.
And
so,
think, do you know how fast Wormhusk got nerfed? I know Wormhusk was
Yeah.
a problem,
Yes.
Oh.
and I didn't use it.
do you remember
But
our hammers?
I
Our-
did.
our
I used
hammers
it.
were
And I
hot?
loved it.
One-Eyed Mask has been going for a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some
year.
kind of favoritism is going on there. Like, why still?
Yeah.
Is it taking another month to fix or whatever it's going to be?
And I don't mean to harp
Favoritism.
on Titans because I do enjoy playing as a Titan from time to time, and I don't live in the Crucible, so these problems don't affect me that much. It's only when Pinnacles are out for Iron Banner, but I played as a bottom tree striker also, and I'm like, I clear a point, I get like 4 kills, And then I run across the map, and I'm like, oh, I got shot a couple times. I better like regain my health. And I look at my super bar, and I'm like, half?
What?
I have a half super left? Let's go get more kills.
Yeah.
Let's clear out this point. Oh, 4 more kills. Now I'm out of super. Thank God.
Meanwhile, Military Arcstrider's like, I blocked a shot for half a second.
Yeah.
There goes my super. Oh boy. Oh dear. Well, there we go.
It's kind of
Well,
ridiculous.
they are definitely taking notice of Bottom Tree Striker, and the perk Trample tuned the amount of super energy returned per kill.
So this is coming
Should
when?
be 0, but whatever. Who might have?
These
I
are
believe
changes.
this is
Pope, you started
coming.
reading some changes. They're coming
Right.
with update 2.6.1, which
Right.
will deploy on October 29th. And they gave us some patch preview notes. And Pope, you started reading them off.
Yeah, just basically the Bottom Tree Striker is going to get a reduction in the amount of returned possible per kill from 15% to 13 before diminishing returns. And a lot of this, it's hard. You're going to hear it and go, well, how does that affect your?
It's cumulative.
It's cumulative. Reduce the low end of diminishing returns from 5% to 3.25. Change the kills for diminishing returns by splitting them between players and combatants. I believe that what they're saying here is they're going to treat how kills get your health or super back differently in PvE versus PvP.
Correct.
I would love that.
So,
That'd be great.
which is going to be great. I feel like they need to make more changes like this. Nerfing a class like that for PvE would be a mistake.
Yeah.
I believe.
Totally
And
agree.
it looks like they're splitting that off right there. Previously, it was 15 kills. Now it's 14 combatant kills or 7 player kills. Count by 2 times diminishing returns. So how fast you're getting your super back per kill is going to be reduced, but it's not going to be so much affected in PvE. The cost of light attack and super increases by 50% from 2 to 3%.
Okay.
So when you use your smash, it's gonna cost more. That's the equivalent of Watts you saying that
Is that the smash or the dodge move, like the knee move?
I think
I think it's the smash part, isn't it?
they say light attack. Whatever it was, it's whatever you use to get across the map.
Light attack.
Yeah,
which
that was
is what?
you have kind of like that
The shoulder
shoulder
the
charge
bump.
kind of move.
Maybe
That's
Yeah.
light attack, yeah.
Which I
think
actually
that's
think
what it
that's
is.
fine because like hunters can use their dodge and it doesn't take super energy to get around. It's just I don't know why you need super back when you kill something, but other like melee classes in their super don't get that.
I mean, you need positive reinforcement, right? You're a Titan. You need
You
to
know-
be
you know
reinforced
what
positively.
You know what a hunter needs to get their super back in a melee super? They need an exotic. Weird. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Regeneration on kill no longer procs on super kills.
That's a
Yeah,
big
so
change,
that-
actually.
that's
That
a
is a
big
big
change.
change. That is
Yeah.
a big
So
change.
that and in essence, I think that right there really honestly takes that super and just neuters it. So you're
That-
going to
I
have
don't know
to
about
use.
neuter.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
When you go into a group of players and you kill one and you don't get your health back,
yeah, you're gonna get shut down pretty fast.
you're going to get shut down. So now it
You mean like
allows
hunters all the time.
it's going to allow Teamfire to
Yeah,
be
you're
able to
not wrong.
shoot down striker titans. You're not wrong. They're balancing the. But
No,
it's-
totally.
The thing that's different about this is that you're gonna have to put on an exotic to make that thing happen. So if you put on the insurmountable skull fort, you
Yep.
will now get that opportunity. So like what Watts is saying, it's not you have to use an exotic to get that perk or that
Yeah.
bonus. It's the same thing for Titans now. In order to get that, you'll have to wear the insurmountable skull fort, which I do anyway on this class. So, whatever.
So you're still set.
I'm still set. I'm good, but it is definitely going to get your.
Having the
And-
cost go up to 50% every time you use it at the peak towards the end will help quite a bit. So you can't just. I mean, right now you literally can wipe 2, 3, 4 people and go completely across the other side of the map and then do the exact same thing to those people spawning still right now as it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts. So
Yeah. So now you only get halfway there, roughly speaking.
yeah, you'll
Make it all
get
the way back.
halfway. Have to take a pit
I
stop.
mean, and they're also and Titans aren't the only ones getting it, right, Briar? It looks like
that's
they,
correct.
they talk
The
about
bottom path for Dawnblade, Attunement of the Flame, is also getting touched up. Everlasting Flames is getting tuned the amount of super energy returned per kill. Handled differently than Striker, as this attack is an AoE. They're increasing the low end of the diminishing returns from 0.75 to 0.95. Change the kills for the diminishing returns by splitting them out between players and combatant. Again, the difference between
Good.
PvE and PvP. And previously it was 30 kills. Now it's 21 combatant kills or 7 player kills. Players count for 3x towards diminishing returns.
Okay.
So it looks like they're
diminishing returns kicks in faster, is what they're saying here. So you're not going to be able to go on it as long a streak. If you front load your kills, though, you're still going to get a lot of your super back. But further on in your super, you're going to get less super back per kill faster.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a welcome change to both those classes. I feel like the supers lasted for way too long.
Yeah.
And it's going to be nice to be able to see the changes happen and be able to team shoot down these supers when you see them.
So I'll be honest, I feel like Dawnblade is a lot easier to deal with right now with the armor being stripped of them.
Yeah.
Like way easier than a Striker Titan. Striker Titan is like, I just drank 2 Red Bulls and sniffed a line of Coke. Boosh, 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 boosh. It's like, Jesus, okay, I'm out of here, man. Like, that's really tough. Whereas a Dawnblade, it gets a really good scoot. But then that descent floof, it's like, team shot, boom, you're dead, practically. You know?
Yeah. I feel like it takes skill to use that Dawnblade effectively because you can get kind of trapped and then just get team fired really quick.
Yeah, exactly. So Dawnblade, I feel like, takes a lot more positioning to do correctly and to like dip in and out. So, that one I don't mind as much. Yeah, the timing, how long it can last, sure. But the Striker one, that's just straight up out of hand.
Yeah, in PvP, it was crazy. It was fun to use. And I hope it remains fun in PvE because
same.
Yeah,
the problem with being a Striker in PvE is that you're a high risk super. So
you're in the middle.
There needs to be a benefit to using a super like that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it becomes a useless class.
You're going to be relegated to being the the Ward of Dawn every time you go somewhere.
Right.
Bubble bitch.
So I mean, bubble bitch is like a thing, man. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see the changes to the bubble being effective again. But it also, was that same problem that Warlocks had with the well. Is that's the only class you could play, right?
In high-end content with a team. Yeah,
for sure.
Ward of Dawn is getting touched up. Armor of Light timer now correlates with the life of the Ward of Dawn. And this one's interesting. Particle FX move more rapidly towards the end of the Ward of Dawn's life.
Interesting.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's a nice change.
You can see when it pops,
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Night Stalker Middle Path, Way of the Wrath is getting changed. Shattering Strike fixed a bug in which Shattering Strike activation window was reduced to 3 seconds along with True Sight, and Shattering Strike lasts the proper 9 seconds once again.
Yeah, it made it with the 3 seconds, it just makes it really hard to use in PvE and reliably get that debuff on an enemy. So, of course, changing the wall hacks to be 3 seconds makes total sense. But if you want to actually use it in PvE to debuff enemies, then 3 seconds is like, okay, I killed something. Oh, it's gone. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't get in range fast enough.
The shoulder charge change is interesting. You see it in videos by some of the top PvE content, like Glad and Chevy, and those guys are using it. Shoulder charge is now, they removed a bug that allowed players to shoot immediately before activation of shoulder charge, which allowed players to apply 1-2 punch damage buff to shoulder charge.
Wow.
This bug was caused by a quality of life change made by Tempest Strike before Shadowkeep. If players had the sprint button configured as hold to sprint, then they would need to be holding the sprint button while sliding in order to activate Tempest Strike. With the release of Shadowkeep, we added a small window of time where players could activate Tempest Strike after letting letting go of the sprint button. This change had unexpected effects on other melee abilities, so we have reverted this change until we can find a better fix for Tempest Strike.
Wow.
So you could do some shenanigans real quick and just, you know,
I mean,
your damage would be insane.
The 980 Nightfall champions were just getting deleted.
They
Yes,
were,
they
yeah.
It was fun to. It was why I was watching Glad do it, and they were messing with a bunch of perks in the mod slot off the artifact.
Mhm.
It was really fun to see the different arrangements that they could make in their group settings with mods to be able to take down these bosses. Oh, and so I like at the very end of it, it says, we're also aware of feedback about other abilities and gear not mentioned. We have our eye on One-Eyed Mask. Expect a change in a future update.
I am a little confused why it's taken a year.
Yeah,
but yeah.
We're looking at you, One Eye Mask. Good looking, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they're making all these changes. That's the thing I don't get. Why is it such a sensitive subject?
Them
It
Titans.
can't be hard to fix.
Don't be touching those
I mean,
Titans.
Is Pete Parsons a Titan? What's going on over there?
Yeah.
Well, is he Titan?
Good
Slay
question.
on me.
He is absolutely not. He's a hunter.
All right, so it's not him. Deej is
Who
not. He's a warlock.
did
It's
it?
somebody, and I'm
Someone's
putting
doing
it out there.
Uh-huh.
Somebody is just attached and biased to it. And no, I don't. You know.
Yes, no.
The change is probably way more like
You think it's like a deep bug?
I don't know.
Could be.
I have no idea. I know that as long as it's there, I'm gonna abuse the crap out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it.
and laugh the whole time. And I can understand how frustrating it is to play
We're-
against.
Wormhusk was the perfect example. That got like smacked so fast, so hard. I didn't even think it was as big of a deal personally. Like, meaning I'm not that good. It didn't help me a ton more. I mean, that's how bad I am. But anyway,
I mean,
it's
One-Eyed
that's like a
Mask is-
year ago. It's crazy.
Well, One-Eyed
to
Mask
be honest.
is a niche, type thing. You
Yeah, nobody uses it. You never
You
see
got to
it.
be really skilled to activate
Not a
it
soul.
to really get in there.
Wormhusk was so
almost
good because
never-
every time I thought I might lose an engagement, I could just dodge and get all my health back. It was
Wormhusk
so
was
good.
bad.
You know,
It was
if,
so good.
if you're coming across a One-Eye Mask Titan who's really annoying you, put on Wormhusk and use Arc Battery mod.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that gets you
Because they're
to where
like,
it needs to
oh,
be.
I hit you with a gun. You're weak. Gonna rush in because I can see where you are. And then all of a sudden you get the overshield and your health back.
Oh man.
Mhm.
That would
Good
be good.
tip.
Huh,
Mhm.
It's actually pretty funny.
nice.
Because they're like, oh, I got you. And then you're like, nope, sorry.
You're
No,
like,
you didn't.
surprise. That'd be good.
Yeah, the
That's a
Wormhusk
good
was
tip
funny
for
because so many people would come around a corner expecting you to be nearly dead, and you're like sitting there with full health.
Yeah.
Love it.
Surprise!
You guys want to do Twitter questions?
I should be clear that the overshield and arc battery only lasts for as long as you're dodging. So it's a very, very, very short period of time that you have an overshield. But it's good for just like blocking, a few bullets, and then maybe they run out of bullets faster and then you win that engagement, or they get a hit on you and you can just dodge and kind of block the lethal blow and get your health
Oh,
back.
I didn't
with
realize
Wormhusk.
that. There's been a few times where I like vooped somebody mid dodge and they didn't die, and I was like, the
Yep.
hell?
A lot of
What?
people in Iron Banner are using the dodge to get the overshield.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start using that.
We do before you start Twitter questions, Briar. Let's talk about the Bungie bounty.
Oh, the Big Show is coming to the Bungie Bounty.
Yeah.
The professional wrestler,
And
also
Hunter.
known as Paul White
and Hunter.
Yeah.
and Hunter.
Yes.
What day is that?
It's
October 19th.
October 19th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific, and they're going to be on PS4. So Big Show is going to be out there, and the Bungie bounty is going to be on the line. If you match up against them and you beat the Big Show, then
Are they going to
I guess
broadcast that? I'd love to see Big Show play some
I
Destiny.
think so.
I
Because
believe
he's
they're
going. He's
right?
going to the studio. If
Yeah,
they
yeah,
go
he's
to
gonna be at the
I
studio.
feel like
Nice.
that's gonna be
Good.
broadcast.
Oh, sweet. Should be fun.
And there's
Yeah, I definitely want to watch that.
there are also some great if you haven't looked at the TWAB, there's some great art in there. It's some great screenshots, some work that they from artists that of concept art and screenshots from the game.
Yeah.
I definitely
that's
recommend
nice.
flipping through there. It's beautiful.
They got
There's
the
also-
insufferable scene in there.
Yep, the insufferable scene. and then there's some information on the new Fashion Destiny emblem.
That emblem is glorious.
It is glorious. There's a competition for, dressing up your Guardian and submitting it. So there's information on Bungie.net and the TWAB about Fashion Week.
Yeah, send in your pumpkin, Tefty.
Ah, yes.
You should.
That's an automatic win.
Just need that chest piece.
If you want to know how to get that, if you want to know how to get that amazing emblem, which it really is beautiful, make sure to submit your Guardian. That's it. I think that's it.
Nice.
Before we do Twitter questions, I know that Pope, you got the new Scuf Vantage 2 controller.
Oh yeah.
If you could tell us a little bit about that. I know that you had the Vantage 1. You weren't excited about the connectivity of it. So now you got the Vantage 2, and I'm hoping that we got a winner here.
So I apologize about my daughter she's sitting here talking. So she's here running around. She might
just yell at her
here. Yes, I should. So the Vantage 2 arrived, and it's a little different. It takes me a little bit to get used to it because
is it the same shape as the Vantage 1?
And it's the same general shape and the same general shape as the Impact, but it has the button layout of the Xbox button layout. So it's the split thumbsticks. It has the same customizations that the Vantage 1 had, where you can just pop off it's all magnetized, so you can just pop it off and pop off the screen and get a couple. If you want to change the look, it's just as easy as just popping it right off, and then you can change it. There's the rumble packs on the inside here, pop in and out easily. If there's a game that you like to have rumble in, you can pop them in. I like to keep them out because I like my controller lightweight.
You're very weak. I've noticed that.
Very weak. Right. So there's 4 paddles on the back. I'm going to put them in the screen here that are programmable, that you can program the button so you don't take your fingers off the front buttons. But what's new with the Vantage that the Impact didn't have is that it has these side buttons here. So it's the same as Vantage 1, but now the Vantage 2 has them. And they feel a little bit more solid, to be honest with you. They feel like they're in there a little bit.
There's more resistance to the press.
Yeah, you can't. I felt like I was hitting them a lot when I was playing. Accidentally. So when you pull your finger forward, the button's right here. So when you're pulling the trigger, you would straighten your finger out to hit it, right? Well, it has a little bit more of a texture to feel to it. So I feel like if you're when you're playing, you're not going to accidentally hit this button. You're going to hit it with purpose. You extend your finger out and you're hitting it. And these are also programmable to any of the buttons on there, as well as the D-pad, the touchpad right here. So you can choose to do that. There's some really nice quality of life features on it. On the backside here, underneath, there's toggle switches, manual toggle switches that switch between USB and Bluetooth. So, and that's an important distinction when you're running it.
That's
if you have
interesting.
If you have a lot of Bluetooth devices around and there's a little messiness in connection, you can switch it to USB and wire it up, and you don't have those problems. There's also a toggle switch. Instead of having to use a magnet when you were wanting to program it, it's really super simple, and you can do it on the fly. Programming your controller really just is a toggle switch. You flip it over, and then now you can just program which button. You hold down the button that you want to program. You hold down the paddle on the back. You let go of the button. You let go of the paddle, and it's done. That's the programming.
I never liked that. The magnetic thing was always like cool because like, oh, this is neat. It's magnetic, but I'm like, what happens when I lose this magnet?
Right.
Yeah. Like, whoa. Couldn't have just been just a button or a switch instead?
Some of the other features that I thought were really cool are D-pad comes off. The little
nice
piece comes off, and you can switch it to a disc. So on some games,
like the Elite controller for Xbox.
Right. So on some games, it's really nice to have a disc instead of the.
Yeah,
she wants to change it out to the disc, dude.
Yeah.
Let her do it.
She was really upset that I didn't put the disc in.
Exactly.
And so there's also these inside the actual thumbsticks, the being able to switch them out now, I feel like is a lot simpler. The putting them in, because you can take these thumbsticks out, and there's different sizes, and
You didn't have to
concave
use a
and
tool to do that,
dome.
did you?
No, you just literally just pop it in and out.
Does it still have that ring around it? Oh, wait, because you've got the cover off.
Yeah, I got the cover off.
Oh, okay.
And the cover is incredibly easy to take off, but the ring is a cosmetic
Is it
thing
magnetic?
now. Yep. Here, listen.
Nice.
Oh, that's easy. The ring is cosmetic. Does it still have that anti-friction?
Yeah, well,
property?
the ring is anti-friction, but you switch it around. You can. It's now like they come in many different colors, and you can add accents to your controller now. So it's purpose and form and function at that point. There's some really interesting features on this touchpad right here that I haven't been able to play with. This new this strip down here is a touchpad feature. Like it has
Oh, cool.
but I haven't had a chance to play with that yet, so I still need to figure that out. I really like it. I like the adjustable features of the trigger stops. I'm really enjoying that you can switch this around easily. You can do a macro adjustment, so you can want a fine trigger pull, or if you want a micro adjustment, you just pop off the trigger, and then you can use a little Allen key and micro adjust it to be just exactly what you want. For first person shooter games, being able to tune in exactly how the controller feels and how you want to play it,
That's awesome.
really makes a difference. I feel like they really hit the nail on the head with this design.
Does that work on PS4 and PC?
It connects with both PS4 PC. For me, it's awesome because I can just go swap right in between. I know Watts does this all the time.
Xbox as well, or
Yeah.
no Xbox on that one?
They do have Xbox ones, but I don't believe this one is for
They're not universal?
Xbox right now. No,
Gotcha.
this one just is PlayStation and PC.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying it. I like the feel of it. I might be making the switch over from so that the impact here. I put a lot of miles on this one, and it's got the same thing, the 4 paddles on the back. It does not have the bumpers here, but everything else functionally is the same in adjustments. It doesn't pop. You have to have it built in. So I ordered this without the rumble pads, but you have to, you can't pop off the lid on this one, right? This one's comes set. It's not as customizable, but I'm really enjoying it. I might make this my controller now. I'm still partial to the impact just because I'm so used to the button layout of being straight across instead of crossed over. The two thumbsticks are right next to each other. Yeah. But this controller does feel really good. They've solved all the problems that I felt the Vantage 1 had, and the reason why I went back to the Impact. So I do have to play it a little bit more to really get the feel of it on the longevity thing. But overall, feel, comfort, the buttons and how you're pressing them, how they give you some traction back, some feedback back on the side. I'm really impressed by it. I'm excited to see it to really mess with the side buttons, to get that used to my muscle memory, because I feel like these extra buttons can be really helpful for shooting and then reload.
Can you map one of those to activate your one-eye mask?
Yes, that's this button right in the center. It's the FU button, right? Is what I like to call it. You just push it, and then the one-eyed mask just activates.
Oh, nice. Can you
really
remap
crazy.
it to a side button?
You could. You can map any of these buttons to that.
Nice.
Yeah, really great.
One final question, Pope.
Yep.
Could I get a discount for that controller?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Use code DCP.
Oh, nice.
And you can check out, and you can get a discount. They're running a special right now. There's some really great deals. If you go to their website, they're celebrating the Modern Warfare, the new COD release, and they're also they've got some great designs up. I'd check it out.
Nice.
And let us know what you think.
Follow-up question, Pope. Are you planning on making a ASMR controller YouTube channel? Because I think you have a market for that.
You know, I'm hoping that I can learn from you, Tufty, and really just kind of get the
Beard
Planet
ASMR
Coaster. Yeah, you know,
Yo,
we'll
Planet
work
Kill
something out.
Strain ASMR, man. ASMR is very, I'm expecting 20-minute videos from Pope of him dismantling and reassembling Scuf controllers. Just all the sound effects. Maybe a stereo mic.
Especially with the
telling you,
magnetics.
this controller feels so good. I know you guys are giving me crap. I go over and get some of the adjustable features on it. I could talk about this all day, and maybe I should just make a 30-minute, 40-minute video on it.
Yes, you should.
That'd be
I
awesome.
should. All right, now I'm going to be removing the thumbsticks.
All right, Twitter questions. Let's get them.
Whatever. Thank you, Scuf, for sending them. They're awesome.
I know that me and Tefty are both waiting to get that controller. I'm really hoping that it becomes my new controller, because right now I'm switching between an Xbox controller and a PS4 controller depending on what I'm playing on.
Mhm.
And I would like, and I use the Xbox controller on PC just because I don't like dealing with the extra software for using the DualShock.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that becomes my controller for PC and for PS4.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling too, because my Elite controller has fallen apart. It's kind of annoying, and I definitely don't want to buy another Elite controller if it's going to fall apart. So I'm interested to see how that Vantage 2 feels.
Yeah. Well, it should be arriving soon, and I'm interested in hear what you guys have to say, because I definitely put as much time into them as you do, and I'm wanting to hear about the just how it lasts.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Twitter questions. Young Flea says Victoria Dolbum, the design director for Bungie, confirmed that they're unlikely won't have a vendor refresh because they're prioritizing seasonal content. Thoughts?
Lots of thoughts.
Oh, here we go again. The conversation that happens every week for 20 minutes.
This is
Let's
Tefty's
go
thing.
again.
This is Tefty's thing.
We
Do it again.
kind of grind this a lot every week on this discussion, and I'm actually to a point where maybe I just need to accept the fact that it's finely curated types of drops in this like finely stood up sandbox, and that's what they want, as opposed to lots and lots and lots of variations in the sandbox with these subtle changes throughout. And like, I guess as a Destiny player, I'm gonna have to start accepting that that's what they're looking for, like highly curated options out there for drops for random rolls.
If this is what they say, and this is a bandwidth issue, and they don't have time to do both, I think they're making the right decision.
Yeah.
I would like them to figure out a way to do both.
Right. I think it's safe to say we'd definitely all like both for sure. But if there is a choice between putting new loot in the new activities every season and doing a vendor fresh, I think it makes sense.
Even if we did, one vendor per season or one planetary location per season, we don't have to do like full scope every season. But I'll be honest, it's demoralizing to see the Eververse get a full set of brand new stuff, and world drops remain the same.
Yeah, and it's not.
How would you feel about cosmetics being new world drops then? Because with Eververse, you don't need to come up with like all the different roles and code all of that in, as well as the cosmetic look. Whereas for a Ghost, it's like, it's mostly just cosmetic, right? You're not adding any new perks to it. You're not adding like the mod thing.
Well, we used to get sparrows and ships for doing raids, and I wouldn't mind that coming back.
So if there was a system involved where right now, if you go into a new activity and you get a drop and you dismantle it, you get that shader that's attached to it right now. So if we expanded upon that, and then there was a seasonal refresh of cosmetics, this could scratch that itch a bit, because like, you could see a new Edge Transit drop, but it could have some sort of cosmetic attached to it. Or if you dismantle that Edge Transit, God forbid that you'd ever do that, but if you dismantled it, you would then unlock that cosmetic ornament type of thing, if there was some sort of ornamentation system in the game, to at least have something that's new with your Edge Transit drop for your leveling purpose. Because as it is right now, it's just numbers. They're all just numbers that are climbing until you hit your level cap, and then you start looking for the roles that you're going to be using throughout the season. And again, maybe I just need to accept the fact that that's Destiny now and be okay with that. But I really would like the fact to see, a new Go Figure drop again, and actually be excited to see what it might have dropped with, potentially. And if that's cosmetic, cool. they don't have to completely reinvent all this stuff. They don't have to give Eris Shadowkeep level detail of new weapons. It's just like some refresh type of stuff with some different options in there.
Well,
An
I'm
olive
going
branch.
to argue the counterpoint to that. I think that when I go to a planet and everything's the same, it makes me feel comfortable because I feel like everything's the same. I'm just kidding. Really bad example. Trying to play devil's advocate on the wrong place. Go ahead.
I think more so something that's completely realistic that they could do is there's so many weapons in the game that just don't drop anymore. The faction weapons are a perfect example of that. You can't get them. That's a whole slew of weapons. Each faction has like a whole slew of weapons and armor and shaders and emblems.
That's a very good point.
That's stuff that's already in the game, but we just can't get it anymore. And there's a few things like that that I would love to see them give a refresh to in terms of, random rolls, and that would be great.
Well, you
Then
see,
you'd have it dropping. You're like, oh, sweet.
See, that's the issue is that, like, we are very aware of the sandbox and we end up going for range, reload, and damage. And I don't really think the sandbox supports having wild refreshes in throughout these seasons. Like, that's really the issue is that, like,
I think as Destiny players too, we've also kind of seen through the fallacy of having different weapons. What we see now is that, okay, there's 450 RPM pulse rifles. We're looking for the one that has the best range, maybe a good handling, and then we want the good perks for it. Like you can put a different coat of paint on it. You can put a different name on it. Ultimately, it's gonna feel and perform the same as 450 RPM, pulse rifles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think eventually they need to change up the archetypes. Like the archetypes need a refresh themselves because we've had these now for 4 years, 5 years, and like that system of just slotting, new cosmetically different items in the same archetype, I think is starting to show its age.
Maybe. Honestly, maybe not. Maybe that is Destiny. Maybe the way the sandbox feels and how the guns feel, maybe that's the cornerstone of Destiny. And like as players who like a lot of variety, maybe we need to accept that, it's more highly curated as opposed to something like Borderlands where there's a crap load of stuff in there. I don't know. Maybe there's a nice meeting point somewhere. Maybe the sandbox really does need some extra facets in there with the elementals and all that. I'd love to see that personally, but it's possible that the game would be worse if that was the case. I don't know. I'm not a game designer, so.
I really like the idea that Watts brought in to kind of sum up the positions here, but there is a ton of guns that we've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and armor and ornaments.
Yeah.
It would be great to be able to get my new monarchy, my Titan, to have some new monarchy ornaments on, from those faction wars. But more importantly, I wanted my Urals back. Okay.
Yep. Not a new problem for Destiny, though, right? Going into year 3, we experienced the same thing. Like, it's just the sandbox with a lot of guns, actually, a lot of armor. There's a ton of it. It's just we've seen it all before. And yeah, we're certainly getting tired of seeing the same thing drop, and there's no wonder to it anymore. So I'm just not surprised, though. I feel like we're beating a dead horse, which is almost what you're saying, Tef. Like, I don't even know if it's a question. This is Destiny. I think Bungie would agree with you, and they're like, yeah, I would love to have more guns.
Yeah.
You think that's going to happen based on how history has gone? No, I think it's going to be about a year before we see some really big drops now. I'm looking forward to the seasons, but Shadowkeep was the big drop based on history. Yeah. If you think bigger, I'm sure there'll be cool story arcs and there'll be other cool things to come, maybe, right? Another raid. But Shadowkeep was the big
That was their juicy drop.
Year.
Yep.
Usually based on history. So we'll see, things are changing over there, but
yeah, exactly. And I'm
next year.
I feel like I'm accepting that as well with the ecosystem of the game. Like I'm having a lot of fun playing Shadowkeep right now. I love chasing rolls. Briar had brought up about an hour ago, let's talk about Armor 2.0. We never got into it. So I think we're gonna have to save that for next show. But like we really should dig into Armor 2.0 at some point.
I would love to have like an in-depth conversation about it. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of remember it for next week.
Yeah, because
for sure.
I've been
Who's
having
the guest next week, Pope?
Yeah.
Who's the guest next week, Pope?
Great
1 second.
question.
I think he's preoccupied.
He's talking. He's giving his daughter a stern talking to over the D-pad
Yeah.
swap out.
Yeah.
Sparty for you asks, has Stephanie realized yet that the barrier champions basically have armor lock from reach? And if not now triggered, does that make him? If not, how triggered? Oh,
See.
and if not, how triggered does that make him?
I'm completely fine with it because it's in PvE. If there were Titans dropping those barriers, reflecting everything, literally Nova bombs, rockets, like if you could shoulder charge into it and the barrier would drop and it would like delete you for the shoulder charge because of that, like actually that sounds pretty fun. I'd be pissed off overall if it was in PvP. In PvE, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Because I know how to deal with it. Actually, I was on stream. We were talking about this. If the AI programming predicted the fact that you had a Nova Bomb and you were rushing, if it was like closest Guardian is approaching the champion and they have a Nova Bomb, and upon activating the Nova Bomb, immediately drop that barrier shield, then I'd be triggered. That'd be the worst thing ever.
That would be amazing. Let's do that.
The worst thing
Ever. The worst thing ever.
Where the AI is like, someone's getting mighty close to me. That's weird.
Shield.
Let me put up my bubble.
Oh my gosh.
D Flawless says, question for everyone. Would you rather have Eris's eyes, Kade's horn, or Asher's Vex arm? Nothing else will change about your physical experience.
I want that Vex arm. You know how cool I'd look with a Vex arm? I would look amazing. I'm sure I could put some like if I go cooking, maybe we're losing people by the
People
second.
are dropping, man. What is going on? I'm spooked.
The apocalypse is here. Oh god. I could put, if I'm cooking, I could just have like a knife attachment to my arm. I could have a spoon attachment. I want the arm. Maybe it also has like time warping abilities too, since it's a Vex arm.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Frankie 2 times has been lost to the void. And Briar has no signal.
I wonder if he finally went to go pee. He's been saying he's needed to pee for a while now. He didn't want anyone looking at his butt as he walked to the bathroom.
And now we're all going to be thinking about that when he gets back.
Perfect.
Hey, Fran.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Fran.
Bathroom break.
Bathroom break.
Why'd you turn your camera off? Break.
Exactly.
Joey Salinas says, got so irritated of getting melted by a recluse that I took a break from Iron Banner to get it. What do you guys think is the answer to this beast of a gun?
The answer? As in what to do with it? Or...
Yeah.
I think the perk is just too strong in PvP, specifically.
It is very strong. Especially when being able to be coupled with Mountaintop that can one-shot kill.
Yeah.
You just get an easy one-shot kill with your Mountaintop, and then you're just like, well, I got this super beefed-up weapon now. Cool.
Yeah, suddenly Master of Arms is just, competing with shotguns that are rushing me because it's so fast. Like, it kills
so fast.
It kills ridiculously quick. You actually notice the tick rate of the lobby struggling to keep up with the amount of damage it's trying to calculate from all those bullets.
It's pretty crazy. I've been at almost 0 health, but if I have that perk going, I'm like, I'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that we talked about it a little bit last time. I forget if I mentioned it, but I've been thinking on it, and I feel like the right thing to do is give us a warning shot, but perhaps of like, hey, by the way, you can still, maybe they say you can still earn Recluse for this time, but it's going away. You'll be able to use it a little bit after that time. And like, I don't know, as an example of there's these weapons that like, what do? You can't just strip them away. Like somebody just got Recluse yesterday. So how do you deal with that? And I think maybe if they give us this like period of time on some of this stuff, but I've never seen anything like that in Destiny, but I feel like it needs it, right? Like there's just stuff that's like, hey, it's fun and all, but we're going to be, either sunsetting it for a while. It might come back, but here's whatever, 3 months to, if you want it, have fun.
Yeah.
Whatever the solution is. And that way it doesn't suddenly like burn somebody who just picked it up.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's definitely a tough thing to solve when you have like people jumping in the game at various times.
Yeah. Would you miss it? I think I asked this last time. Would you guys miss it if I said in a month it's going to be gone? We'll sort of address that. Like, how would you feel about it?
I'd be okay with it personally. It makes it to where you don't even have to think when you're doing PvE stuff. You just bleh, bleh.
Yeah.
You just kill
Yeah.
everything
It's
instantly.
crazy.
I wouldn't miss it. I mean I like using different things too though. I
Yeah,
don't
me
like
too.
sticking to the same thing. I get kind of bored of it very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet
But,
business.
Every like the yearly refresh of Destiny, I'm like, if I've used something a lot, I'm like, it's time to retire this, regardless of where its performance is. And I feel like Recluse is that gun for me, to where it's hardly getting any love at this moment, and for me personally. And for PvE stuff, I'd rather use the Oracle, the Reckless Oracle. Which is
Yep.
kind of funny. It's called Recluse.
The new
Reckless.
auto, right?
Yeah, it's
the new Reckless is Reckless.
Yeah, it's 50 rounds in the magazine. It's got more range.
600 RPM.
You know, it doesn't kill as fast without if side by side and in close range for SMG. Obviously, the Recluse is going to kill quicker, no doubt about it. But you take away Master Arms, then this auto rifle's outperforming it easily.
There's a really nice submachine called a subjunctive.
Yeah, I
that
have a
with
good
the
one of those.
with the right perks on it, Rampage, and it has there's subsistence, and there's just some really nice perk combinations you can get on it, and disorient when you pop it, bubbles shields. It's a very strong SMG, and I prefer it actually, at least on controller or on a console.
But yeah, I think, yeah, I feel like I saw some of chat too. They were like, yeah, I wouldn't miss it. Like, yeah, maybe we're getting to that point sometimes. Is like, would it
I think it's
kill
okay to
take
sunset
something away?
weapons.
Yeah, it's time, I think.
Yeah,
But-
like I mean, I wasn't upset to see the Whisper of the Worm get nerfed. I know that the whole world was upset about that, but you know, you were using that for 3 years to shoot things in the face. You know, like I'm ready to use a different weapon.
Yeah, it was a nice break. It's nice that it's back, but even more extreme, it's like it can get tough to nerf weapons, I think, because they appear broken and like, what did you do to Recluse? Now it's, what is it even anymore, right? You've neutered it, you know, going back to what Pope was saying. I think in some cases it might be better to be like, we've just sort of removed it. It's amazing. Here it is up on the shelf in your tribute hall, and it's awesome, but
just take it out of the game.
Historically, if when they've tried to do that, we've like bitched and complained.
Bitched and moaned.
So.
Yeah, but that's why I asked.
haven't-
I didn't get a
thought
reaction.
I thought they had it right in year one, where they were just kind of upping the power level of Guardians, and that when we got new content, the new power level would go up, and if you had a really awesome weapon, then you could still use it, but it had to be really good to compete with the new stuff.
The only problem is with that, you could still use it in PvP with no problems
Right.
at all.
So
That's the only issue.
honestly, if they wanted to keep it in game, but have people move on from it, then they need to do exactly what they're doing with Armor 2.0, have weapons 3.0, whatever they want to call it, since technically it's already 2.0 for weapons, and have a perk system that just literally cannot exist on there for mods that you would be enticed to use. You know, like right now, let's say the artifact
try to get you to move away from it.
like if the artifact stuff didn't actually work on Recluse, you know, like anti-barrier and like overload didn't work on Recluse, I feel like a lot of people would be like, well, it's not an option for PvE right now because my end game content literally can't support using Recluse. You know, so I think they're gonna have to do things like that in the future if they want people to move on from certain weapons, if they want to keep it in the system too.
I agree with you 100%, Tefty. That's the way they need to approach it, for sure. I was surprised when Recluse got the armor mods, 2.0 mods.
Spencer Armsworthy says, recently I was at Universal Studios Orlando and I was wearing my Bungie Hunter t-shirt and someone working on one of the rides says, "Eyes up, Guardian," and that made my day. My question to you guys is, has this happened to you before and how did it happen?
Oh, the best one was through when you land back in Seattle after being on an international trip, and you know you have to go through the immigration. They're like, what have you been doing, suspicious person? And they were all Destiny players. So they were just like, it completely dropped like that kind of barrier that an immigration worker has for you when they're trying to see what you've been up to. And it just turned into like, what class do you play? Are you currently playing? What do you think of this? And that was really cool because you don't normally get to have those conversations with a lot of immigration workers because they're on high alert for bad people. So yeah, that was nice.
It's cool.
Bunch of Guardians. Seattle Airport. A lot of them play Destiny.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of them.
Yeah, that happened to me too. Actually, at TSA, I ran into one before. It was cool. They were still very professional about getting the job done, but then they're like, "Hey, I forget if they actually like, what class do you play? Aren't you from Fire Team Chat at the time and all that?" I was like, "Okay, this is it." Throws you off at first.
It does, yeah.
It
Yeah.
does, but
You're
then
like,
it's
"Wait,
like,
what did
"Oh,
I
this
do
is
wrong?"
kind of cool."
Yeah.
You feel like you have like inside, agents. It's like
Yeah.
who's working in the FBI and the CIA? That's like
Yeah.
DCP. I'm a fan.
For me, it's
you know what I mean? Need a favor?
For me, it's a little tough. I mean, everywhere I go, people just can't stop noticing me. Grocery stores, I'm just like, stay away. They always want me to sign things. I'm just like, they're like, Pope Bear, here, take your groceries for free. Have some gas on us. It's just overwhelming at times. And I just need to,
I never got any
sometimes,
free stuff.
Sometimes I just wear
I would
like
take free gas. That would be pretty amazing.
Free
I
gas.
wear a
Yo, want to
costume
fill up?
just so I don't get accosted
Hell
all
yeah.
the time, And if you're wondering where you can get these wonderful glasses, we have.
Where could we get such wonderful
We
merchandise?
have a DCP store. As a matter of fact, these wonderful wood grain DCP themed glasses
Mhm.
are going to be available on our Bungie on our store.
On our
What's
bundle.
the web
On a
address
Bungie.
for that?
It's you think I would have that ready for you, right?
DCPLiveMerch.com.
DCPLiveMerch.com. We are also going to be putting out a special deal.
Special.
If you buy a poster, so we have posters. Our posters arrived from PAX West, so now we can start selling them again. So we have our poster, the new poster. We're going to throw in last year's poster. I have still some left over. So you're going to get a 2-for-1 if you order a
The poster's pretty
Poster.
freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Always amazing. Look at that. For
That's
audio
incredible.
listeners, there's currently a DCP poster on screen.
right? And if you order that,
All of Ash's amazing head
She is amazing.
Yep.
shot art.
you'll get the year 2. And then I for the first like 5 or so, I'll probably show in year 1 too. So you might get 3 in 1.
Whoa.
I had a bunch of extras that I didn't realize I had in, so I'm gonna get rid of them. And
Right.
and you guys can take advantage of that. So DCP
Gotta move to
Live merch.
Vietnam. Gotta get rid of this shit.
That's right. You heard it here first. Take advantage of Pope.
So I'm
on
starting
the
to
podcast.
sell stuff because I'm about to leave the country. So get used to it, man. If you want T-shirts,
Also, if you want a
hat,
couch,
you want a couch,
Want a
You
green
buy some
screen?
sunglasses, you might get a
just
couch.
let me know.
Headphones,
Astros.
microphone, green
Yeah.
screen if you need any of it.
All right, good.
you gotta bring a pickup truck though. Spencer Armsworthy says recently. Oh, I just read that one. I'm sorry. Mad Geek says, considering Paul Tassie's comments on Armor 2.0 elemental alignments, does everyone agree they should go? Why or why not?
What did he
So-
say?
He was talking. I didn't read the article, but
Yeah, what was the headline?
the headline was that he was talking about the elemental alignments and how they just serve no purpose and should.
Oh, because like you got to choose, sniper or connection,
My
remote connection,
question-
etc.
For those that don't like it, what is the point of elements on armor if you get rid of the affinity?
I mean, originally it was resistance, which was pointless.
Yeah.
So now, like, they give us they want us thinking about still doing a build. I mean, this is my impression, right? Like, why? I think that's the question, right? Why not just put all the mods on one type? Yeah, and don't worry about the elemental type. Like, do we need it?
Why have
But
planetary
then-
materials? Why have enhancement
Yeah,
cores?
all sort. Yeah, because it gets you to change up, how you do things, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like it actually, but I am now that I'm settling into it, I'm like, actually, it's not as big of a deal, and it does become a little overpowered. Whoa.
I think
It's okay.
all right, that's amazing.
We had a brief you can't see it on stream. We had a brief guest up here. It's all right. That overwrote my camera now, didn't it?
Can somebody who has access to Discord possibly remove Morla from the group? Because I don't.
Can I
Is that
do
possible?
that?
Because I'd have to
Let's
go
see,
into my screen.
member. member list
Whoops.
Can you
I don't know how-
overlay my image instead? No, you probably can't.
Morla.
Like if you zoom in on mine instead.
I don't have an option to kick from group.
Yeah.
Wow,
No?
that's funny
Okay.
that
I think.
Discord
Let me see if I
It
can do it.
stayed.
keeps your activity.
It stayed.
Hold on.
That's crazy.
Hopefully I don't get kicked out of the call. If I do, this will be awkward. More
Oh.
awkward than it already is.
Wait, Tef, don't do it. Think about what you're doing. Is it worth it?
She'll kick.
Let's
She'll
see.
kick.
You won't be able
She'll
to
cut
use your
out.
laptop.
Let's see.
Can we turn that signal off too?
No, not yet.
When she cuts out.
Well, you can't. Yeah.
How do you actually remove? Oh, there we go. Got it.
Okay, there we go.
Nailed it.
You're
Look at that.
free to use your laptop.
Comms clear. Comms clear.
Comms clear.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
the funniest
You're
thing,
all
man.
insufferable.
That's amazing. Okay, back to the affinity discussion on the armor. I actually like the fact that I have choices. Because again, if you don't have if like okay, if you could use any perk on the armor, regardless of infinity, then the chase for the armor gets reduced drastically. Like
Yeah.
you're literally just looking for one masterworked piece of boot and gloves and helmet and all that. So like, there's no reason to look for these different roles with different affinities, and like it makes the chase get truncated heavily. And then once you've gotten an exotic that has a good role in there, you don't have to think about ever getting another one. Well, what if you do want a solar one for your for your fusion rifle stuff and a void one for your sniper rifle stuff? Like, I think it's a good system. I really do. I think like I understand the annoyance over not having more options, but that's kind of part of the RPG aspect of this, is that you're going after these pieces of gear to build builds with it. That's part of build linking.
And
Yeah.
I kind of like, so I like it. I know a lot of people don't like it. I like it for the reason that it gives elements an identity, which I think is actually kind of cool. And I think they could do some cool stuff with that in the future if we now have it in our minds that void is hand cannons and snipers, and then solar is fusion rifles and rockets or whatever it is. I think that that's cool, that they could do some cool stuff with elements if they've set that up as this is part of the world. But I also do like that it makes me think about what I'm going to use. So if I am going to use a sniper, I'm like, oh, well, I can't get scavenger on my boots for, a shotgun and a sniper at the same time. So it just makes me think about my build more. I'm making decisions instead of just having everything open to me. Sometimes can be a good thing in games to have to decide between stuff instead of just being like, I got everything available, I can slot everything in there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of
I like it in theory, to be honest with you. I think it's going to take me a couple more months of really like using it on the daily to make up my mind. But in theory, I agree with Watts and Tefty that I like having decisions to make. Like before, it was just what's the best armor that I have, and I'm going to put that on.
Yep.
And then the only decision I have to make in my armor slot is which exotic I'm going to use.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to be making builds based on sniper, hand cannon, whatever I'm trying to use in PvP or PvE. Like if I like playing with a sniper and a hand cannon in PvP, and maybe I want a high mobility build, like that's a lot of stuff to kind of be searching for, and I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. In the long run, it is a good thing because like we're looking at this in like 3 weeks in, 6 months from now, how right, it's going to flatten out really fast, so to speak. Right, if you just had one set of armor, and so I think that they did see that long game, and who knows, maybe we'll end up on the other side eventually, be like, oh, I kind of want more. They need to mix it up more. It's too easy to do X or Y, or I don't know. In the long run,
Yeah. This is also what happens when game goes to more of a RPG MMO light type of grind, is you have more of these longer tail chases to get a perfect build. And you know what? I'll be honest, I don't think you should be able to get a perfect build in 2 weeks. The grind's too short if you're able to get a perfect build in 2 weeks, guys.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But the other thing about this system is you can get a pretty good build in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you can.
Like it's I think it's effective at that. Like I don't feel like I'm insufficient in the Crucible or in PvE, but I do feel like there's definitely things I could work on to maximize. Like kind of like a tier 12 build at the end of Destiny 1. Like there's definitely things I could do to maximize my output, and I like that.
I have a question for you guys, because I'm nowhere near touching on what affinity could benefit me or not. I'm not even there right now. I'm just grinding for levels and not really looking at the individual stats.
What does it affect?
Right. So when I'm playing right now, as I'm leveling up and I'm getting gear that's bringing me up a level, maybe is there any advice you could give me as somebody who is leveling up? What should I be looking for stats wise for armor pieces that I should keep?
Well, there's 2 levels of it. There's the actual stats themselves, and then the affinity.
Right.
You're looking for the
That's
stuff.
right.
So the affinity
So
will affect.
what's your best advice on that as I'm running?
Right. Well,
Because I see numbers on my armor, right? Like 3 void or 4, arc, or
right.
So that's how much
again,
energy is on it.
right.
Yeah, that's
So
that's
I'm
2
just
camps.
asking from a basic level, like explain it.
Yeah,
for me.
so there's 2 camps to it. There's the hard numbers that give you intellect, strength, recovery, all that stuff. If it's 55 and under as a base roll for legendary, then it's average or below average. Okay. Anything above 55 is getting above average, and then when it's 60 and up, it's a high roll. Okay. And I think max is like
that's a good rule of thumb right there.
That's-
and where do I
yeah.
find
But-
that number?
you just look at the armor. It'll tell you like the total
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in
Under
the
all
description
those
screen.
individual, it's got a total, is what
Yeah.
it is.
Okay,
right?
perfect.
Now
I think it's called a total too.
it is
right
called
on the
total.
screen.
Yeah.
It does.
Now the issue though is that you could look at it, you could get a 60, but then you see that it's like 25 mobility, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, this is
I'm
actually
like, hell
garbage.
yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, if I see 25 mobility, I'm not going to be interested in it. So you do want to look at like recovery is obviously really good. Intellect gets your super back, discipline gets your grenade back, and strength gets your melee back. So depending on those that you value the most, those are the roles that you want to be. If you see 10 or higher in a slot, you might want to keep it. So that's the stat point or the stat side of it. The other side of it is the actual energy affinity side, and this is tough to remember. So you will have to just kind of get used to the system. But solar is going to give you fusion rifle and
I think it gives you pump action.
no,
right?
that's arc.
Does it?
Arc gives you pump
That
action.
is arc.
Pump
Okay.
Yeah.
So light
The good
reactor
news
is solar.
Yep.
To just jump in with the problem we're having right now. The good news is that Bungie are adding to our collections.
That's right.
So where we could see every mod that we have. So then you'll be able to
Yes.
just look at your collections and be
Yeah.
like, oh, so if I want shotgun, that's arc. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Which will be a big help with this.
Yeah.
For now,
Yeah,
you're
they
gonna have
label
to
it. They-
memorize what you like using and what affinity.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is.
So generally, if you want sniper stuff, you look for void, and each one has various stats for that. Like dexterity, again, which is like swap speed and ADS speed, is going to be in the boots. Reserves is going to be in the chest piece. Scavenger, I think, is helmet. Reload speed is obviously gloves, and getting super energy is going to be in the class mod. So every one of these, if you have all void, you'll be able to build a full sniper build where you have like 24 Izanagi shots. You're getting super energy on kills. You got reload speed, enhanced sniper reload. I believe you can get targeting and all those things. You can build specifically for that. You will not be able to build for a fusion rifle and a sniper. That's not going to be possible. I mean, you could mix and match, but you're not going to have the best of both of those completely combined and merged. It's
You
impossible.
can't min max for both at the same time.
Okay.
Exactly. So
You'd have to mix and match. not
yeah,
min-max.
mix and match.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the armor and look at the perks and see which ones show up. If you see solar and you see fusion rifles, it's going to remain consistent across all 5 pieces of armor. If you see void and snipers always void. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And
I
you
would
wanna put-
I would like a way to kind of indicate if I make a build out of all solar things, and I change the appearance, because like let's say I want the appearance of all my solar things to match because I'm making a fusion rifle build. I'd like a way to kind of mark that in my inventory, like my character inventory, that's all the same build. Because it right now, if I'm not wrong, if I change the look of a piece of armor, it doesn't actually change the icon, right?
Correct.
So like it could be I have like 5 random pieces of armor that when I put them on, they're all solar and they all look cool together because I changed the appearance on them. But in my inventory, it just looks like 5 random pieces of armor.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That is a little weird.
Like a way to kind of curate your loadouts a little bit, because now we're going to need loadouts.
That's the thing. We legit need loadouts at this point.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
do.
we're
That's the
getting to a
biggest
point
thing.
where you need to be able to build custom loadouts in the game.
Dim can help you with that, but still, it's a little
Yeah.
clunky in game.
Yep.
Yeah, so thank you very much for explaining that. I think that that's something that I'm looking right off the bat as I'm playing. I'm looking for stuff above 60. That's cool. That's good to know, and focusing on the things. And then just a silly question, but it's one I have. So your affinity does not change. It's just the play style adjustment. The element does not relate to the class
Nope.
element of your Titan or your Warlock
Correct.
Void. That has no relation to that.
Correct. You can have all solar affinity armor and still be playing Arc or Void, Titan or Warlock or whatever Hunter, and it will not affect your play. You're not going to get more solar damage by having all solar affinity or anything like that. It's purely what mods you can slot
Yeah, it's
into
funny.
it.
It's literally just color coding. You know,
it is.
They decided would be tied to these things for whatever reason, but
Yeah, I was trying
it
to find the logic
helps.
behind it, but it doesn't.
Yeah, you got to get used. Yeah, like Tef saying, purple is sniper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is void. You know.
There you go.
Do we want to do we want to put a limit on questions because we're coming up to 3 hours?
I'm getting frangry.
Yeah.
Are we really? Oh my god!
I'd say one more
Yeah,
question.
I've been trying to snack here
Yeah.
because I was.
My
getting
bad.
hungry.
I just got kind of
Give
lost.
me some, man. What are you eating?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Pizza.
pick one of the silly ones.
In the
out, just
meantime,
'cause-
while Briar's looking for questions, Pope, do you want to say who's on in the next podcast
Yeah.
or the one
Yeah,
after?
we're actually gonna have Houndish on next week.
Nice.
oh, awesome!
Yeah,
gonna be great.
Awesome.
Houndish is going to be talking to us about the his experiences with the exotic quests. Lavatin's Breath. What is it? Lavatin.
Leviathan.
Oh, the
Leviathan's
new
breath?
exotic.
Is it
Question
Leviathan?
mark?
I'm sorry. I must I'm reading
A
that.
fancy, rich way of pronouncing Leviathan.
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 For chili,
Yes,
must be Italian.
Drink Leviathan.
Come appelez-vous? No, it's French. It sounds French.
Yeah, no, I wrote it in on our calendar and I spelled it. Houndish is going to be on, and then we've got next week we got Miss Noodle on Halloween.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So
I'm cheating. Watts, I got 2 questions, but one of them's just for you.
Okay.
Mamba says, "Can Watts pronounce produce for us?"
Produce? I don't think I say produce. I think I say Well, it
Yeah,
depends.
that sounded right, Mamba. I don't know what you're coming
It
from here.
depends.
Yeah,
It
what do you call
depends
the
because if you're saying
selection of-
produce as in like a thing, or are you producing as in produce?
Both of those sound right to
Yeah,
me.
those sound right.
I don't know what Mamba's on about. I was hoping for something really weird, but
yeah, that was.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I say weird.
I
a
think-
waste of
Came
a
at
question,
you.
Mamba. Thanks a lot.
I think
he came at you sideways.
I think Briar just got guys.
I think I did.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mohegan
Yes.
9 says, finish the sentence. One time, I was so drunk, I actually tried to...
Sleep.
Play as a warlock.
Sleeping's really hard when you're drunk because everything's spinning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fact.
Ride my bicycle around a parking lot naked, racing other people.
All right.
That's
I believe
better.
it. Yeah. It adds
I
up.
believe it.
One time I was- yeah, I don't know on that one.
I tried to do the moonwalk on the counter at McDonald's.
Whoa. Were you
Really?
arrested?
Yeah. No.
Of course.
You think that's the weirdest thing they've seen at McDonald's?
Yeah.
I think Franz was he ditched us at Dick's.
Yeah.
One time
No,
he
I
got so
was
drunk, he ditched us
I was
at
fine.
Dick's in Seattle.
I
Unbelievable.
just didn't want to wait for
he
Dicks.
stumbled into the cab and was like, "Get me home."
Dicks aren't worth the wait. Worth the wait.
They weren't
can't-
worth the wait. It was a
Nice.
long line for Dicks.
It wasn't that long. Dicks
It moves
came
quick. They had him coming and going, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
you could grab a
Dicks-
bag of Dicks in less than 5 minutes.
Dicks was not that long. It was pretty quick. Got it.
All right. Thank you guys for submitting the questions. I'm sorry we didn't get into them all. I didn't even realize we were up to 3 hours. My bad.
All good. All
It's been
good.
a great show.
We had a great time. I mean, I love getting into we're going to definitely put that little marker that says, okay, we've This is where you get Destiny talk. But I love this podcast
marker.
being able to grab no marker. We're not going to do it.
If you
Somebody
don't
in
want to
chat needs to
I don't
do
think
it.
we ever
I don't
have.
want you watching
We
the
never
podcast.
have.
How about
We're
that?
not going to.
Yeah, Pope, did you think we
like
do
to-
that?
No, I don't. I would never consider you guys
Definitely
doing that.
not. All right, we're gonna make these outros quick and easy. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, where I'll be streaming Cat Quest 2 from now until the end of the year.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me writing in the comments section when we start talking about dicks.
Beautiful.
Dick talk starts at blank.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts. Don't copy my Hunter build, even though I uploaded a video on it. Just ignore it. It's fine.
Not a great strategy.
You put it out to the world, Watts. I'm Fran Mirabelle the third, or FM3_ right here on Twitch. That's one of the best ways to support me. And anybody here, think about setting your live notifications. I always say it's one of the best ways to support streamers out there and know when they go live. Just hop in for a few seconds. Doesn't even have to be a long time, and it goes a long way.
Touch buds.
Touch buds.
And this has been Pope Bear. You can follow me on Twitter at Pope Bear, but don't do that. Follow the DCP channel at DCP_live on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. It's jump in there. Everybody who's listening, okay, go to our YouTube channel right now and hit subscribe.
What if they're listening
really
on
important.
YouTube?
That would
If
be
they're
awesome,
listening
Mouse.
on, Patreon, if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, stop what you're doing. Pull over right now. Find a safe place to park.
Did you say a sexual
'Cause we know
place?
how many- Safe. I
Oh.
said a
You don't
safe
have any
place.
sexual places to park?
You don't
got them all
park
over the
sexually?
place.
Park in your favorite
So-
sexual spot and open up DCP.
And hit that.
Let's show our
YouTube.
YouTube channel some love. You guys need to check it out.
I like to park on the labia.
Thanks for watching,
man.
everybody.
Thanks for
That's
watching.
the
Have
end
a
of the
good
show.
night.
Like to
What
park
Pope
at
said
this.
is serious. Support us on YouTube.
Support us on YouTube.
Awesome.
Terms of service.
Thanks for watching, guys. That's the show. That's been a whopping almost 3 hour big boy show. We'll see you next week. GG's, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.